For the NASCAR Nationwide Series 5-hour Energy 250 Gateway International Raceway, and it is an absolutely beautiful day for the fans to come out for this final event at Gateway International. 85 degrees, partly sunny skies. Brad Keselowski will be one of those having to come from the back to try to win this race today. Let's go downstairs for pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as we continue to honor our great nation. In the center pit area, representing the colors for today's 5-hour Energy 250, is the color guard out of Scott Air Force Base's 126 Air Fueling Wing. This week, ladies and gentlemen, the racing world lost a giant. Jeff Bird of Bristol Motor Speedway passed away after a lengthy illness. He was a great promoter, friend, and representative of our sport, and most importantly, an advocate of the fans. We also lost Carol June Bodine, mother of Jeff Bodine, Brent Bodine, and former Gateway Truck Series winner Todd Bodine. We will now honor Jeff Bird and Miss Carol June Bodine with a moment of silent prayer. And now for this afternoon's invocation, Reverend Greg Dessard, representing the Midwest Raceway Ministries.
Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us to enjoy this day of racing. Father, we pray that you would be with our military men and women all across this world as they protect us, that you would put your hedge of protection around them. Father, we pray for comfort for the Bodine and the Bird family. And now, Father, we pray that you would be with us today, that you would give us a safe race, but an exciting race. Protect the drivers and their crew members and the fans and officials. Bless this day of racing. Amen and shalom.
And now singing the greatest song in all the world, the national anthem of the United States of America. Former Miss Gateway and area singing sensation, please welcome Miss Carissa Billy.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Carissa Billy.
Getting ready to go racing at Gateway International Raceway in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Only 3 of the drivers in the field have made their way to victory lane this season. Brad Keselowski, Carl Edwards, and the man who drives that car, Justin Allgaier. Allgaier will start from the pole today, and he'll be our in-race reporter.
Race with IndyCar Mobile. Text Indy to 3406 to get IndyCar Mobile, only from Verizon. And the choice of tailgaters, Bush's Baked Beans.
Welcome back to Gateway International Raceway. Drivers have climbed in their cars, getting ready to get strapped in, get those helmets on, and get ready for this race here this afternoon at Gateway. After today's race, just 3 more races left in the NASCAR Nationwide Series season for 2010. And of course, what a memorable event it was when we were here last time in July. Brad Keselowski in the white car there, Carl Edwards on the outside. They battle going into turn 1 on the final lap. Keselowski gets into the back end of Edwards, makes the pass, and then they battle down the backstretch. And then this happens coming off turn 4. A little payback. Boys have it at it. Brad Keselowski spins hard into the wall, and Carl Edwards goes on to win. Well, that was certainly an eventful way for that race to finish, and we mentioned earlier that Brad Keselowski didn't get the win, and that one maybe makes him a little hungrier to get that victory here today. He's got the Drivers' Championship about secured. Nothing to lose for Carl Edwards, that's for sure. So that's what we saw in July. What do we see today?
Well, it's an interesting set of circumstances. You got driver starting on the pole who's without a job next year. He's determined to change that. He's only got 4 races left to do it. You got 2 of the hottest drivers, fastest drivers, starting in the back. They will not be preoccupied with each other because they can't afford to be. It's going to be entertaining.
We saw some shifting in this race a season ago or back in July when they were here last time. Is that something we're going to see again tonight? What are the pros and cons to that?
Well, the pros are that if you get down into turn 1 and 2 on wore-out tires, the RPM, 5,000 RPM, you grab third gear, you get a boost of speed up off of turn 2. The risk or the con is that it's disruptive. You know, it's a very difficult racetrack, requires a lot of focus, concentration. You're busy enough as it is. You don't need to be throwing shifts in there.
Yeah, Ricky, I'll tell you, it's a very dangerous move with this transmission to try to shift at this racetrack. The ratios in this transmission box aren't designed to put this thing into third gear and try that. Now, last year, Kevin Harvick tried it. He saw a lot of people doing it. He went down in third gear position, picked the throttle up, spun the car, crashed the car. I asked him after the race, I said, what happened? He said, I tried to downshift, and the transmission racers are so radical that it didn't work for me, and I wrecked the car. So we will see people try it tonight, but I don't recommend it.
Now, we saw the veteran Harvick have trouble with that in July, so probably if Kevin Harvick struggles with it, it's not going to be something we're going to see the less experienced drivers doing.
No, you're not going to see a lot of guys doing it, but some of them are going to try it because, like Ricky said, when you get down to real slow RPMs down in turn 2, get down to like 4,500 RPMs and maybe even lower late in a race, they'll try to get that position, get that thing in third gear, get a little boost off the corner. So they will try it. I just don't think everybody will be trying it.
By the way, we saw that 33 car of Kevin Harvick, and Harvick's not in the car today. That's going to be Mike Bliss, who's been one of the fastest here all weekend. Certainly will be one to contend with here this afternoon. Well, we're getting ready to get things started. Let's go downstairs trackside for the command to start engines.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports. Again, our Grand Marshal, the president of the Missouri-Illinois Dodge Dealers, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vince Capitosta.
On behalf of the Missouri-Illinois Dodge Dealers, their employees and families, drivers, start your engines!
Oh, yeah!
Engines have fired, getting ready to get things started. Justin Allgaier will be the man on the point, on the pole for the 3rd time in his NASCAR Nationwide Series career, and he is our in-race reporter. Rusty?
Justin Allgaier, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
I got a copy, Rusty. Go ahead.
Hey, Justin, last time here we saw a lot of guys try shifting. In fact, Kevin Harvick tried shifting, spun the car out doing that, but a lot of guys are going to try it. Are you going to try it?
I'm sure at some point over the day you're going to probably see my arm going and putting it up into third gear. We tried it a little bit yesterday just to make sure it was an option. I don't believe you'll have anybody doing it really for the long run. I think it's just too risky, like you said. But this Verizon Dodge Charge is pretty good, and we got a great starting spot. So we'll just have to wait and see what some of those guys do before we make our decision on that one.
Okay, Justin, we got an ESPN mailbag question. It comes from Ed in North Conway, New Hampshire. The question is, what would it mean to you to win the final race at Gateway?
Well, I think, number one, this is my home racetrack, and as you well know, this is a really cool place, and to be able to win here in general would be awesome, but to take home the last win would mean a lot to me. We always have a lot of fans in the grandstands here, and we're going to miss it. You know, it's a racetrack that I think all the drivers would agree we really enjoy coming here, and it's a real driver's track. And you have to really be patient and stay within yourself. But so as long as we can do that today, we got a car to get ourselves in victory lane, and these two guys are doing a great job yesterday and today, and great pit stops all day today, and we'll have a good shot at it.
All right, buddy, thanks for talking to us. Have a great race out there. Now, Ricky's going to speak to your crew chief, Chad Walter.
Hi, Chad. Ricky Craven in the ESPN booth. Do you have me? Chad, Ricky Craven in the ESPN booth. Do you have me?
Yeah, 10-4, Ricky. Loud and clear, buddy.
Cool. Chad, you've had a great weekend so far. Very fast in practice. You win the pole. What's your strategy going to be to finish the job, keep your driver out front, and hold off Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards, who you know will be coming?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Ricky. You know, it's just a matter of time before those guys make their way up to the front. Really proud of the Verizon Dodge and all the guys that are working on it back at home and here on the road. I think the key is Justin just needs to keep his wits about him. We'd like to lead some laps for sure, but we've got to make it to the end and see how the other cars are that are around him and figure out how to beat them when it comes time to push the button.
Yeah, it sounds like a great plan. Good luck. Thank you.
Cool, Ricky. Thank you very much.
Well, that's Chad Walter, the crew chief for Justin Allgaier. Allgaier mentioned it being his home track. He's from Riverton, Illinois, just 100 miles north of Gateway.
Heartburn gone? Power on.
Welcome back to Gateway International Raceway. Just about ready to get the NASCAR Nationwide Series race underway here this afternoon. You're going to see it from a variety of onboard cameras as well. Danica Patrick, Justin Allgaier from the point, Trevor Bayne, the pole winner here back in July, Morgan Shepherd, Brad Keselowski, and Carl Edwards. Boy, that'll be fun watching those guys come from the back of the field. Steve Wallace has had a great weekend, and the young Ryan Truex in the 99, all with onboard cameras. Take a look at the starting grid up top of the screen with the ticker, and gives us an opportunity to go downstairs to our pit reporters, beginning with Rick DeBrule.
Well, Vince, let's talk about Brad Keselowski. He's got some unfinished business here after what happened in July. So you might say he's got 3 goals. Number 1, he wants to win this race. He's got a championship at stake. Number 2, at the very least, he wants to finish. And number 3, after what happened in July, he at least wants to finish under his own power. Jim Noble?
Rick, Carl Edwards grew up just 2 hours west of here in Columbia, Missouri, and he has a ton of friends and family here today. Now, he isn't worried about points. He's not worried about Brad Keselowski. All Carl Edwards wants to do is write the last page in Gateway's history books, and with another win here today. Shannon.
Danica Patrick, fresh off a career-best finish of 21st last week at Charlotte. Her crew chief, Tony Jr., said one thing she needs to work on here at this track is getting more aggressive through the turns. She brakes a little bit too early. Now, Patrick did not qualify as well as she wanted to. They're starting tonight on owner points, but she said just moments ago in Countdown she wants to turn a bad qualifying effort into a good finish. Vince?
Keep our eye on Danica for sure, coming off that 21st place finish at Charlotte last week. Our over-the-wall reporter working the pits today is Mark Hollywood Armstrong. Hello, Hollywood.
Hey, Vance, thank you very much. And real quick, fans, opportunity. That's what this team's got to focus on today. This pit crew that goes over the wall, they got to take every advantage of the opportunity they got today. But the guys behind the wall, they got to help us. They got to hand in the tires, hand over the fuel, and if we can get all that right today, we can take this opportunity and go to victory lane.
Great job, Hollywood. Look forward to their work over the wall and behind the wall today. You see this one's a 200-lapper, 250 miles. The track is 1.25 miles. Pit road speed, boy, you don't want to get caught speeding. It's a big penalty, 45 miles per hour. And the pit window, 70 to 75 laps. And how about the banking here, guys?
That's pretty flat, it really is. I mean, this track, Vince, is awful close to Phoenix, Arizona. In fact, a lot of guys used to come to this track and test for Phoenix. It's 1.25 miles long. really long front straightaway. Takes a lot of brakes, takes a lot of patience also.
Yeah, the bottom line is if you get out of the groove, the dark area where the rubber has been laid down, you're in trouble because the banking won't support you before you get into the outside wall.
Talked a lot about this being an opportunity race. Who do you guys like today?
I tell you, I've been talking about Mike Bliss. Mike Bliss is driving Kevin Harvick's car. Bliss has looked strong all through practice. He looks great. Josh Weiss, Brendan Gaughan, you're seeing right there. Brendan's got a great car. There's a lot of opportunities for these guys today.
Yeah, Stephen Wallace has been extremely fast. What's impressed me most about his car is that he's appeared very comfortable. You can't win in a car that's not comfortable. I think the driver who needs to win the most, as we alluded to earlier, is Justin Allgaier. He's got so much pressure on him, but he's performed like a champion. Then there's Kenny Wallace. How can you not be pulling for Kenny? He's had a great weekend, and he's got a lot to race for with a new sponsor on the car.
And Kenny running a car out of the Rusty Wallace stable, so certainly the best equipment and the best opportunity he's had in quite a while. Several drivers have gone to the rear. Mike McDowell, Brad Keselowski, Paul Menard, Carl Edwards, all because of driver change. Danny O'Quinn had to go to the backup because of an accident, and Johnny Chapman made an engine change, so he has gone to the rear as well. So it's Justin Allgaier, who was the pole winner. He'll start on the outside of the front row. He was contemplating which position would best serve him, whether he'd want to take inside or outside. He's chosen the outside spot. And because of those guys that had to go to the back, Mike Bliss slips up and is the man on the inside of row 1 to start alongside Allgaier. Getting ready to get started here. The Gateway International Raceway finale, the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and the 5-hour Energy 250 is underway.
Allgaier's being rewarded for taking the outside lane, and I think he played to his strengths. If you watched him in qualifying, he ran a higher line getting into turn 1 than most drivers. It worked.
Now, right now, I mean, they're getting up to speed at the moment. Turn 1 and 2 is a very tight corner, Ricky. It's really tight. Now, here in 3 and 4, really wide open. You carry a lot of momentum to the front straightaway. That's where we're probably going to see a lot of passes when they exit of turn 4 here today.
Still too wide as they have yet to string out. There's Paul Menard in the yellow 98, not wasting any time. Brad Keselowski in the 22 on the inside. Keselowski, and Menard, and Carl Edwards. We expect the 3 of them to make their way to the front as quickly as possible.
But this is a very anxious moment for these 3 drivers. Believe me, they do not want to carve their way through this traffic. They want to methodically get their way to the front. They don't want to take any unnecessary risk, like going 3 wide. And they got away with it. But these guys have to be careful. One mistake could take out all 3 of them.
See Danica Patrick right there outside of the track. Now there comes Keselowski. He'd be a really good one to hook on the back and learn something. Danica's real concerned about her braking points, how deep to get in the corner, where to pick the throttle up. Hey, I'd be looking at this guy right here, help guide me through. You see Paul Menard, Carl Edwards are all hooked together, trying to get those things to the front. Got a long way to go in a short time to get there.
Edwards wasting no time. He started 39th. He picked up 13 spots in the first lap. There's the lead, the battle for it. That's Mike Bliss, as you see out the back end of the Justin Allgaier machine.
It's a very difficult track to pass on. You see Bliss jump through the middle of the corner, so he goes back to the accelerator sooner, but apparently had to roll out of the gas a little bit on corner exit and then lost that momentum.
Justin's kind of working the top side of the racetrack, guys, trying to get some momentum up there. He talked, and when we talked to him as our in-race reporter, mentioned that maybe he might try to downshift off of turn 2. Behind him, Mike Bliss, we talked to him yesterday, said, man, this is the best car I've had in a long time.
Good battle for 4th. Look at him going too wide there. You've got the 16 on the outside. That's Trevor Bayne. The 20 is Matt DiBenedetto. And right behind him, Reed Sorensen, who had a problem in qualifying or in practice, crashed his primary car, had to go to the backup. And Sorensen, one of those guys we expected to be a contender. Now Stephen Wallace has slipped inside of Reed Sorensen.
Okay, this trio of 4 or 5 cars, they've been packed together for the last 5 laps, bumper to bumper, kicked it away from each other. They're all locked in. This is the tightest battle we got going on right now, guys.
Might get a little bump draft here. You got to be careful, particularly getting into the corner. Turn 3 is a little choppy, a little bumpy. You don't need somebody's bumper lined up with your back bumper.
All battling for that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th spots.
Boy, that illustrates how tight it is on the exit of 4 between you, a car inside of you, and the wall.
E-Series championship. He's a pro at these short tracks, and this thing is right up his wheelhouse.
Yeah, long straightaways, but don't get misled here. It drives like a short track, and he'll be right at home here. He made his debut at this track in July and ran very, very well.
That's Jason Leffler in the 38 on the inside. Leffler, one of the teammates with Reed Sorensen. Both those guys struggling with their race cars a little bit in practice, and interesting to see how this first stint plays out before maybe they get in and start making some changes. There's that battle for fourth again with Trevor Bayne being pressured by Reed Sorensen.
It's an interesting equation here because Trevor Bayne told me yesterday he prefers running the high side with the Ford engine. Remember, he came from a Toyota, transitioned to Roush Fenway Racing. He said the Ford runs better if I keep the car a little higher. And then you got Reed Sorensen there trying to figure out his car. Remember, he doesn't have any laps in this car. This is a backup. Yep. Stephen Wallace really impressed us in practice. When you see a car run that strong on the bottom, that's a show of strength.
Yeah, you got to have some patience right now, though. These guys are side by side, this long front straightaway getting down to turn one. Ricky, if they get too tight in that corner, these cars can get loose. That's a real tough position. Stevens in right now at the bottom of the track, and you see Reed Sorensen give him a little bit of break there.
Yeah, Steven broke loose a little bit. Nobody's been able to break this man, though. It's Justin Allgaier. He started on the point, and he has led all 7 laps here early on at Gateway.
Check it out.
Back at Gateway International Raceway gives us an opportunity to remind you and you Verizon Wireless customers to text the word champion to 43776 for exclusive Champion Chats content from our NASCAR Now Roundtable experts. These guys look pretty good here in the early going. Justin Allgaier, he's led all 12 of the laps we've run so far. And I'll tell you what, he is stretching it out over second place Mike Bliss.
He's stretching it out, and he needs to capitalize on the opportunity. He's in clean air, and if he's going to beat Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski, or any of the other Cup drivers that we expect will challenge for this win, he's going to have to give some great feedback to his crew chief right now because he doesn't want to be back in traffic like these guys trying to give feedback.
Well, Carl Edwards certainly has been a big mover. He started 39th because he had to go to the back. He didn't qualify. He's already moved up 24 spots. I mean, he's in the top 15 on lap 11. And you look, Brad Keselowski, Paul Menard, didn't waste any time. Those guys that had to go to the back, they got on their horse right away.
Tied right over here, 3 wide off of turn 2. I think Brad Sweet, he's getting a little lesson right there. See, Kenny Wallace following Carl Edwards through this pack right now. These two have been swapping the positions back and forth. Kenny in his brand new car, and Edwards coming through. Edwards pretty good tutor for Kenny to get through that field.
I shouldn't be surprised, but Carl's being very aggressive considering we're only a dozen laps into the race.
Yeah, he really doesn't care though, Ricky. I mean, he's got nothing to lose. He's not going to win this championship. He's too far behind. Like I said earlier in Countdown, just wants to win this race.
That's a fair point.
But he's got good tires in the car right now, and he needs to capitalize when the tires are fresh to get up there. Rick, what do you got down there?
Well, for Carl Edwards, you can think of this as 2 races. Race number 1 is to get into the top 10. Do what you have to do to get to the top 10. Once you get in that top 10, then you begin to tune for the victory. That's what his new crew chief, Mike Beam, was saying before the race. You have to divide it into 2 segments. So he's in number 1 right now. Once he breaks into that top 10, then it becomes the fine-tuning. Those last 10 spots are always tougher to get, and you've got to work to finally work your way into that top 1, 2, or 3.
You know, Carl Edwards has won 5 times in the NASCAR Nationwide Series after starting in the rear, including 4 times because of a driver change because of the fact he didn't make qualifying. So coming from the back and working his way to the front, nothing new for Edwards.
No, he's made a living doing it. He's an outstanding talent, but he's not going to get himself in trouble by listening to Mike Beam either. Mike Beam does a tremendous job, great coach. Quite a battle here with Trevor Bayne and Stephen Wallace. These are 2 guys that are going to contend for this win. They both had great practices, qualified solidly. They're measuring themselves against one another. Stephen's really stuck to the bottom. He likes the bottom down 1 and 2.
He loves his car right now, Rick. He's been working like crazy on it. They really got it handled well, and the year's starting to wind down, and the team's starting to get stronger. This was a really great practice session, qualifying for the guys. He feels confident.
It's a track that suits him well. He performed well here back in July, finished 5th. It's been strong throughout the course of the weekend, and certainly, as you guys noted, this is a team that has continued to take its steps forward. I tell you what, wouldn't be surprised to see it in victory lane today, and that's how confident that group has been throughout the course of this weekend.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. Those 2 drivers ran 2 different lanes. Their cars look different over the bumps, through the corners. We got some good side-by-side racing all the way through the field.
You see the Great Clips Toyota there, the 11 car, and now that's Paul Menard diving in front of it. Keselowski going by the 11 as well. That's Brad Sweet, and he's a driver that runs for Casey Kane in the USAC ranks. Sweet making his first NASCAR Nationwide Series start here this afternoon. So quite a challenge for him, but he's held his own this weekend as well.
That's a pretty good endorsement when Casey Kane says, hey, man, I want you to drive my own personal car. And Brad's fast. He's been qualifying well. He's looking good right now. Get a little pressure on him. Oh, Kenny gets into backup, moves him a little bit.
It's a situation where Kenny goes back to the gas maybe a little bit earlier than the car in front of him, or maybe Brad had the lift, got a little loose.
Ricky Stenhouse coming up on sweet right now. Stenhouse has had a great year. I keep thinking about Ricky at Daytona this year in the new car, the Nationwide Series new car. Strong top 5 finish, look good. It's looking good right now.
Let's see if Stenhouse can make his way past Sweet. That's Scott Wimmer on the outside of Stenhouse. Wimmer in the 10, a former pole winner here at Gateway. And Stenhouse obviously looks like he's got the faster of the two cars, but can he get through? And I think they're both being held up by Sweet a little bit. How are they going to get around him?
Well, it's very difficult to pass on the low side here because, Rusty, we talked about RPM pre-race. What happens is you bog the engine down, and you need that RPM to get you down the front or back stretch. So what you want to do is you want to clear them on the corner exit.
Well, you want to keep these cars wound up. Kind of make the track bigger if you can, especially in turn 1 and 2, because that engine won't bog down that much. Now, if they do get bogged down on the bottom side after turn 2, hey, look for that right hand to go forward. They're going to try this downshifting trick that got a lot of them in trouble last time. That might give you a little extra boost. It works on a video game. I don't know if it's going to work out there.
Gets real busy.
See it on the right side of your screen. Wimmer and Sweet battling for about 18th. That's 17, 18, 19 right around in there. And then on the left side, a good battle for 6th between Reed Sorensen. Now Brendan Gaughan has come up. And let's get more on Reed Sorensen with Shannon Spank. Shannon?
Yeah, guys, we talked about how Reed Sorensen went to a backup car because of that wreck in final practice. You're wondering how much information you could find out just on those 2 laps of qualifying. Well, the answer is a lot. He said the car was bouncing all over the place in qualifying, actually spoke to his team about making wedge adjustments as soon as they were able to make it down pit road, take tires and make an adjustment on the car. And Reed's still not happy with it. It has not settled down. He says it's bouncing all over the place and the front end is just crazy on the racetrack.
Well, and right now, Brendan Gaughan's got the chase on. Tell you what, Brendan Gaughan's working with a little bit of pressure this weekend, too. His wife's back in Las Vegas getting ready to have a baby at any moment.
You qualify that as a little bit of pressure? When I think back to
more pressure.
I was under these circumstances one time in '96. My wife was pregnant, overdue, and I wrecked 2 race cars. So Brendan's had an outstanding weekend.
Hey, you talk about one tough thing, though. President Obama is in Las Vegas right now. They got all the airports shut down for general aviation. He can't get there on a private airplane if he wanted to.
Wow.
So he's nervous about that.
We look at this battle now. Carl is getting into the top 10, and these cars get more difficult to pass the further you get toward the front because they handle better. They're running better. And he'll have to be a little more selective.
Looking out the front of Carl Edwards' car, he's currently 11th. Matt Benedetto, the rookie, is 10th. That's Edwards going on the outside of the Benedetto right now, and in front of them is Jason Leffler in the 38. He's running 9th.
See Reed Sorensen right there in the 32 car. Man, he clobbered a wall in practice. Really had to go to this backup car. And I really think he probably needs a pit stop pretty quick to make some adjustments because they didn't have any time to run this car and practice and see what it needed for handling.
Rusty, some of what he described I think is going to be difficult to adjust on. You know, the car bouncing. They can make some air pressure adjustments, but it sounds more like a shock package to me.
Well, they can go in here and mess with the rebound adjusters on the shock absorbers. They want to. Now, if it's bouncing a lot, they can lower some tire pressures. That's going to give you a little bit softer ride. Those are some of the minor things. But if they're locked in a box because of the wrong shocks or springs, then they're in trouble.
Well, Sorensen may have a handful, but this guy seems to have just what he needs. That's Justin Allgaier. Allgaier's led all 25 laps so far here today at Gateway International.
Cookie pizza is just $10 too, only at your Pizza Hut.
Welcome back to the 5-Hour Energy 250 at Gateway. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. And while you're on the web, check out Goodyear.com to see Goodyear's Support Our Troops program. There you can send a thank you message from a NASCAR driver. Enter for a chance to win a 2011 Ford Taurus and other great prizes. That's Goodyear.com and the Support Our Troops program. It's a beautiful day here at Gateway International Raceway. Temperature in the low to mid-80s. Saw that breeze as the flags are blowing. And that man right there has been blowing by the competition. Justin Allgaier has dominated so far here in the early going. Started on the pole for the 3rd time traffic 2, as is second place Mike Bliss in the 33 car running for Kevin Harvick. The 88 of Josh Wise is running third for Junior Motorsports.
I'm pretty impressed with Josh Wise. I've been watching his lap times. He's running top 5 speeds right now. He's in the 3rd position. He's giving this car a good ride. Looks good. Got a good body attitude. Looks like it's handled right. And Shannon, he's got to be pretty happy with this car right now.
He really is. Says it's just a little bit snug. But Josh says he has been looking forward to this race, the chance to get in this 88 car all season long. Of course, it's not his first start with Junior Motorsports, but it is his first start in this 88 car. He did have a little bit of problem in qualifying, that the car was just a little bit challenging to handle. And also, when he was coming through turn 3, one of the crew guys actually left a cleaning bottle inside that car. It hit Josh in the leg, didn't cause any damage, but I guess that's a big oops. Anything like that ever happened to you, Rusty?
A couple times. I called back down and said, hey, you guys missing any parts in there? Because I got them out here inside the car. I forgot to clean my old hot rod out. But, yeah, that's annoying. You got to kick that stuff out of the way and try to throw it out the window or something. But you throw stuff out the window nowadays, NASCAR might throw the old black flag on you for thinking that was lead or something that caused a caution flag.
Not a good idea.
No, not a good idea.
There's Allgaier in the front. He has led 33 laps today. That's more laps than in his last 17 starts combined.
We've been talking about shifting a little bit, right, Vince?
Yeah, the pre-race show, the pros and cons of it.
Take a look at old Justin Allgaier here. I've been watching him. He's been shifting every single lap. At the beginning of the race, when his lap times were faster, he was kind of okay. But lately, he's been getting down into turn 1, letting the thing slow down. Look at that, up into the 3rd gear position. Those RPMs start gaining again, up about 8,000. Pulls it back at 8,400 RPMs. Been doing it lap after lap.
What's he looking to accomplish there when he does that, Rusty?
Well, he's just trying to get extra acceleration off of turn 2. But I'm not really sure he needs it right now because he's kind of out front. He's not battling anybody. I'll tell you, more on shifting. Let's go down to our guy Tim Brewer. He's got a little good explanation of that.
Gear selection here in St. Louis is very important. This whole racetrack's a lot like Darlington, South Carolina. The front stretch and the back stretch, they're not the same length. So NASCAR is going to give me an opportunity to either pull a 411-to-1 ratio or a 400-to-1 ratio. And I guarantee you, everybody out here is going to have that 411 gear in, because the gear in the rear of the car, if it's really low, you can accelerate up off the corner a lot quicker. You can stop the car getting in the corner. And when the tires fall off, you're going to want that 411 gear to run fast here in St. Louis.
Good stuff, Tim. That's Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage.
Yeah, and one thing that you need to be concerned about in shifting is that you need to wait until the very lowest point in the RPM, because if you shift to 3rd gear too soon, you could get a wheel hop, tear up the running gear, not finish the race, obviously. So there's a method to it, and I can understand him doing it now, Rusty, just because he's in a comfortable place. He's not battling anybody for the lead, and he's maybe experimenting a little bit.
There's the battle for 10th. That's Matt DiBenedetto on the outside. Look at Brad Keselowski snaking on the inside. Keselowski up 28 spots since that start. Remember, he started 40th today. Carl Edwards started 39th. Paul Menard 38th. Those Cup guys that didn't qualify the car because of their obligations in Martinsville, and they have wasted no time moving up. Carl Edwards up 33 spots since the start. Brad K, 29 spots. Paul Menard, 23 positions.
We didn't talk much about it, but, Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards' last laps on the track were that controversial finish. So they had to put that behind them. They strap into these cars. They don't know how they're going to feel. Sure, they had some subs that did an upstanding job, but it's not like your own field. And now they're getting acclimated to their cars.
Tell you what, talk about getting acclimated. Carl Edwards, I'm looking at his lap times, guys. He's got about 0.2 of a second on the field as far as being faster. They're like 34.30s compared to the leader running 34.70s. Jim, we got some issues down there?
Guys, Ryan Truex, they are really worried about the water temperature in his pit right now. He thought he had debris on the grill. The water temperature zoomed up to 260 degrees. Originally, they told him to bring it in right now. Now they are riding around just trying to keep an eye on it. They are on the wall, ready to go service that car if Ryan Truex hits pit road.
Well, that would be unfortunate, a mechanical problem. He had a good run going in July here, was running 10th when he hit the wall in the late stages of the race.
And it might not be mechanical, and the reason why is because these teams all start with as much tape as they can get on the front to get front downforce. So, they don't know sometimes until they get 20, 30 laps into the race if they were too aggressive with that front tape.
Yeah, I would have thought, though, they've had enough practice out there to figure that out, Ricky. So, if it's overheating right now, it's probably got a little debris on it, maybe too much tire rubber or something like that. And the way to fix that is if you're getting ready to pass the car, get behind them, get that wind turbulence from under the guy you're getting ready to pass to help blow that off the nose. We see that all the time, and that's one thing he's going to have to take a look at if he continues having this problem.
Danica Patrick currently a lap down, and she was just passed by Justin Allgaier. You see Allgaier in the red Verizon car there, and then in between is the 01 of Mike Wallace. There's Danica in the 7. Joe Nemechek in the 87. Look at him trying to get underneath Danica.
A great example here of looking at Joe Nemechek, a former champion, outstanding racer with a long history in the sport, versus Danica Patrick, who doesn't have many races under her belt, and the contrasting experience is what she's suffering from.
This is just her 10th race, and this is a difficult track to master, especially for someone who's not familiar with the NASCAR car to begin with. Is that correct?
It's really tough. Let's give her a break. She doesn't know much about these cars. She's learning quick, and she doesn't want to be running back or getting lapped right now. She'll figure it out. She's got a good car. I just want to give her a little bit of break right now, guys.
Danica Patrick currently running 28th, looking to improve on her 21st place performance a week ago in Charlotte. Back in a moment to Gateway.
The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Who will be the last man standing?
Back at Gateway International Raceway, Justin Allgaier has led all 46 laps so far. We've got 10 guys who are out of the race. Tim Andrews, Chase Miller, Johnny Chapman, Andrew Ponstein, Kevin LePage, Carl Long, Brian Keselowski, Danny O'Quinn Jr., Kevin Hamlin. They're all behind the wall. And that man, Justin Allgaier, has led them all from the point so far. We're going to be coming up on green flag pit stops, and you see, in fact, we got a caution, so it's not going to be green flag pit stops, but certainly now that we've got our first caution, we're going to see our first pit stops of the afternoon. So the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with the problem as there's debris in turn 4.
Looks like the right front's down, Vince. Yeah, it's soft on the right front. Just a break for him because that apparently was going down as the caution came out.
Stenhouse Jr. was running 24th at the time. He's the current Ray Bessa's Rookie of the Year points leader.
Done a great job of late, hasn't he? And he's got a 6-point lead, as you say, and coming down to the final few races.
So Stenhouse Jr. has a donut there on the side of the car as well. That's that close quarters racing here in the short track.
You see the right front fender's bending just a little bit about the 2 o'clock position on that fender. Doesn't look like it's rubbing, but something has got that right front tire down. Might have got the edge a little bit tore up. Big break for him to go. The caution flag coming out.
Well, maybe that damage to the right front fender came at the same time he got that donut on the side of the car.
You think there might be a correlation there? Might be a link.
Pit road is open, and drivers entering off the access road in turn 3. Justin Allgaier is going to lead them down, and we're going to go downstairs to Rick DeBrule. Rick?
Well, and start off talking about Carl Edwards. He was saying that the car was really good going into 1 and 2. It was close to being tight in 3 or 4, realizing this is a track where you have to get a compromise. You can't get both tires exactly the way you want them. The plan is to make a track bar adjustment for him once he comes in and makes that stop. You see him at the very top. As soon as they come in, they're hopefully going to do the track bar adjustment, get the 4 tires, get him back out. In the middle, you see Brad Keselowski. These guys are really just a few pit stalls apart. For Brad, they were giving him the information. He was complaining the car wasn't very good on entry, and they were asking him for more information. What do you want us to do? Meanwhile, Justin with Shannon.
Justin Allgaier, pole sitter. How good is this car? No changes. They're going to take 4 stuffed tires, and that is it. As Justin Allgaier is in the number 1 pit stall. He's your pole sitter here tonight, guys.
Well, that number 1 pit position makes a big difference, but Bliss may have beat him off. Here's how they fall in line on our nationwide insurance race off pit road. That Bliss got him. I think Bliss beat him off pit road.
Boy, the little things mean a lot, don't they? Particularly at this track where the track position is so important.
So Mike Bliss wins the battle on pit lane. Yeah, Kevin Harvick crew getting it done on pit lane. Bliss will be our new man out front.
Insurance. Rewarding loyalty. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
1/4 the way through the race here at Gateway International Raceway, and Mike Bliss leads the 5-hour Energy 250 after that first round of pit stops. Bliss got out a little bit quicker than Justin Allgaier. Let's check out our over-the-wall reporter, Mark Hollywood Armstrong. He's going over for that 66 of Steve Wallace.
Come on! Yeah! Woo! Get some of that, baby! Come on!
There's a man that doesn't like his job, but he just pretends that he does. Yeah, how about that?
How do you really feel that?
Mark Hollywood Armstrong, great stop from the 66 guys. Not quite as quick on the 12.
No, and you notice the tire carrier on the front trying to grab some tape and fails. And you can see the disappointment because if they're overheating out front, it could be really bad news if they get in traffic.
See Allgaier's right side, 7.1 to Bliss 6.5. Say Kevin Harvick's probably thinking, man, why don't you guys give me a stop like that when I drive this car? What's going on?
Don't get something started here. This is a reversal of how the race started. Remember, they were both on the front row, but opposite position.
Back to green at Gateway. Mike Bliss had the outside spot on that front row starting alignment, and Justin Allgaier on the inside, and Allgaier slips into second place. He's been out front all afternoon long. This is Bliss's first shot at the lead.
That outside lane allows you to keep the RPMs up, and we talk a lot about it because turn 1 and 2 are as tight as any set of corners on the circuit for these Nationwide drivers.
Look how tight they are there as they battle for third. Steve Wallace squeezing by Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, but look at that blue car coming in. There's Carl Edwards. He's had a fast car. Started dead last, all the way up to 5th right now. We'll just have to see how strong his car is right now, because now he's caught the best of them. The top 5 have been getting it done. But I've been watching his lap times, and he has been faster than anybody on the racetrack. So let's see what happens. There's Brad Keselowski. Guy's been racing all year long underneath Edwards right now.
Keselowski makes the move underneath Edwards. Those two have been around one another throughout the course of the afternoon because they both started in the back. Edwards started 39th. Keselowski started 40th. Now Keselowski.
A surprise, is it? Those are the 3 drivers that flew in here, and we expected them to charge to the front, as they have.
The pit crews helped him a lot. Edwards come in like in 7th position, come out 5th. I mean, the crews on these Cup guys really help him. Brad Keselowski's crew fast. Edwards, at the 5th, they knew that they could gain a couple spots right there.
Keselowski's car looks like it's really working well. He's going to be making a move on the 16 here very shortly as he's up underneath Trevor Bayne. Bayne takes a look underneath Steve Wallace. Doesn't quite have enough to get past him as they cross the start-finish line, but Keselowski has the line going into 1.
Difficult corner to get into and try to carry a little extra speed because it just doesn't allow you to. It's a squared off turn. You use a lot of brakes. You can't turn and brake at the same time.
Battle for the lead now as Allgaier looks to take it back from Mike Bliss, and he does going into turn 3.
That's a power move. You know, that's a show of strength there that he could lose the lead in the pits but come back and get it done on the racetrack.
No, Allgaier, he fell asleep on a restart. I mean, Bliss just put it on him, pulled out about 2 car lengths, and Justin's car just did not get going, but now it's got going right now. The air pressures came up in those tires. That car's been working really good. And plus, Ricky, they've been able to make a pit stop now, make some adjustments to these cars that maybe was bugging these guys early.
That's a great point. You made a great point during qualifying also when you brought some attention to what's under the hood of the Verizon number 12, and that he didn't look perfect getting into 1 and 2 during qualifying, but he sure got down the straightaway.
Well, we were tracking all these guys qualifying, and actually Justin Allgaier started picking up speed in the straightaway. We didn't see anybody doing that. And I can tell you, I used to drive for Penske. They make some great horsepower.
Well, we saw the 16 of Trevor Bayne get way out of the groove, and now the 99 of Ryan Truex is coming through, but Truex had to come through the pits, and let's find out why. Let's go to Jim Noble.
Well, Vince, Ryan Truex thought he had a left rear tire going down. The tire that you see is the tire, and right now Goodyear says it's fine. It does have a little scrape on the sidewall. He may have made contact with the wall. It's not as squishy, though, as Ryan Truex said, so he came down pit road and lost some valuable track.
Boy, we got some tight racing here with Paul Menard. That's a tough pill to swallow for Ryan Truex, but you know what? Every driver's done it, and most drivers, if they race long enough, have done it several times. He aired on the side of safety, and maybe it bit him, but he can battle back.
Maybe Paul Menard with an issue, too. Let's check in with Shannon Spank.
Yeah, I was actually going to tell you guys, I spoke with the team, and they told me that the motor is a little bit slow on Paul Menard's car. They say they're down about 400 RPM. He's really kind of struggling under the hood. And then on the radio, I just heard that he actually got a little fender damage. We don't see any tire rub right now, but things not looking good for Paul Menard right now, despite being able to battle from the back of the field.
Yeah, did you see the fender damage there, Ricky, on that 98 as he comes through trying to get by Josh Wise?
Well, what's interesting is, we bring some attention to the right front of the car here, but the real damage is on the left front. That's significant, as you can see here. And when you move the left front fender in like that, you lose downforce. Downforce translates to front grip, and you need front grip on a flat racetrack.
Paul Menard right now running 8th. That's Jason Leffler just ahead of him in 7th. Brendan Gaughan having a good run. He's 6th right now. But the man in front is Justin Allgaier at Gateway.
Throughout fighting,
Back here at Gateway International Raceway, Madison, Illinois, just outside of St. Louis. The final NASCAR race, in fact, the final event here at this racetrack. It's 1.25 miles. It's shaped like a paper clip, and that man right there, Justin Allgaier, has been the guy getting around the easiest today. He has led the majority of the laps, 57 laps out front. Mike Bliss has been out front for 6. We were talking about Brendan Gaughan a little bit earlier, and Rusty made the comment that he wasn't going to be able to get back to Las Vegas if his wife was having a baby because the president was there in Las Vegas. And our red phone just rang, and evidently the president's in Minnesota. So if you're flying your private jet into Minnesota, you might have an issue with that.
Well, he was in Las Vegas, now he's in Minnesota.
Vince, you got a
pretty quick airplane.
You got a lot of pull. I'm pretty impressed with the fact that Vince got that call.
When that red phone rings, I answer.
I got it.
Let's find out more about what's happening up front. Our Jack Daniels up to speed. Shannon?
And guys, we are in Madison, Illinois, and that number 12 car is Justin Allgaier. He is dominating this race. This is the same car that they brought to this track in July, but as crew chief Chad Walters told me, it is a completely different setup. He said they've just learned some things. They've gotten better. This setup works better for Justin, and it sure does. He actually said on the first run, he's not even giving it all he's got. He asked his guys, you guys tell me when I need to turn it on. But of course, the guy behind him, Mike Bliss, did give him a run for his money, getting off pit road. This is also a great car. Mike Bliss told me he actually gets nervous when he shows up at the track, and he doesn't know how to make the car better because that's how good it is. And that is exactly what happened this weekend. They didn't want to dial themselves out. They spent some time not on the racetrack during practice, and things are going great for Mike Bliss. Rick?
Well, let's talk about Brad Keselowski. If you look at his average finishes, he normally improves over the course of the season his finishing position over his starting position by 2 spots. I think he's doing a little bit better than that today. During the last pit stop, they made a wedge and air pressure adjustment. He's a little more comfortable with the car, obviously, as a result of that, and now able to move up. Now, right behind him is Carl Edwards. He also had a wedge and air pressure adjustment. Talking with the crew, Mike Dean, he was saying that one of the specialties when it comes to Carl Edwards is flat tracks. The ability to get around on these flat tracks and use it to the best. That's what he's been able to do today. Remember I said divide this into 2 races? Well, that first race, it was really short. The second race, where you're going to have to improve the car for a victory, that's going to be a long race. Shannon?
So how important is a win here at Gateway to Stephen Wallace? Well, in our countdown show, he said if he wins here today and he, quote, dies tomorrow, he will be a happy man. A lot of pressure on Stephen Wallace. Really wants to have a good finish for his sponsor, for his dad, and for his team here at this racetrack. The car is a little bit loose. They did make an air pressure adjustment on that last pit stop. Jim?
Shannon, Brendan Gaughan's been uncharacteristically silent on the radio thus far. That means his car is pretty good. Very good in turns 1 and 2, in fact. As he burns off the fuel load, though, it starts to tighten up. They made a wedge adjustment on the last pit stop to try to solve that. Behind him, Jason Leffler has been battling brake issues all day long. Had no front brakes for a while. Very soft rear brakes. They have adjusted the brake bias to try to make that work. He's just too loose off right now, and we're going upstairs to the booth.
Thanks, guys. Great job downstairs on that Jack Daniels up to speed. And there's Justin Allgaier leading the way. Mike Bliss starting to pressure.
It's hard to say don't look now because Bliss, his lap times are better, and he's just catching him a little bit of time every single lap. Justin's run a lot higher line off the corners. Bliss has been keeping that baby hooked to the bottom of the track. Catch him just a little bit.
And when he catches them, if they get preoccupied with one another and he doesn't make a quick pass, the 22 will be on him within a couple of laps. So he's coming also, Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, you got to know that Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards are lurking, sitting in third and fourth. By the way, Justin Allgaier, he's led 63 laps. This is the most laps Allgaier's ever led in a race. The previous most at Nashville in June, where he won the pole, led 58 laps, ended up finishing fourth. You know who won the race that day? His teammate, Brad Keselowski. It'll be a similar scenario playing out today as Allgaier has dominated from the front here in the early going. But you know, with Bliss coming in second, it's like a kid at Christmas when we saw him in the garage this weekend. I tell you what, he's so happy with that car and an opportunity to drive for Kevin Harvick. That's a great opportunity for Bliss.
Great opportunity. I acknowledged it. You acknowledged it. I walked up to him. I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking to you about how you got this, but I know you're pretty excited about it. Speeds at the line here give us the true indicator of who's the fastest, and the guys running for a second are pretty much matching one another's times. We look down through the field, and Stephen Wallace put together a good lap there.
I've been watching all these guys, and the speeds have been really jumping back and forth. But I would say Brad Keselowski's had the fastest times throughout this whole entire run. Look at the lead right now. Justin Allgaier's leading his last time by 34-13. Brad Keselowski 34-09. So it's real close. But Keselowski's got just a little bit better car.
Keselowski, Edwards, Steve Wallace, they round out the top five, but it's been Allgaier and Bliss at the front so far. 72 of 200 laps at Gateway. Under caution here at Gateway International Raceway, our second caution of the afternoon, the 35 of Antonio Perez. Hit hard in turn 2. This is just the 7th career Nationwide Series start for Perez, his first on an oval.
He gets down to turn 1, hits those bumps a little bit, and just flat gets that baby loose. And the wrong thing, driver's side first, right in the wall. Looks like it's okay, though. Another look at this thing, just gets sideways. He's patting the throttle up off the corner, trying to keep the car off the wall, but just can't do it.
Interesting position there for Danica Patrick, too, not knowing whether for sure she should stay low, or maybe if Perez was going to go low, you assume he's going to go up high, but certainly it could have been worse for Danica Patrick as well. She avoids that contact. Justin Allgaier leading the way, and they're coming back down pit road for the second time.
This is where Justin Allgaier and Mike Bliss really have to do a good job, not get complacent, and give their crew chief what they think they need to make their car better. Even though they're out front, the drivers behind them are excellent at this.
Check in with Rick DeBrule as they all hit pit road.
Yeah, let's talk about Brian Keselowski. You see him in the middle right there. He's saying he likes the way the car is working through 1 and 2, and needs a little bit of work in 4. Brad Keselowski also not quite as happy, but still happy that they've gone up. I talked to both of them before the race about moving up. They said they didn't think it was going to be a big deal. Guess they were right. Shannon?
Justin Allgaier, bottom left of your screen. He was our pole sitter. The car is loose on entry and tight through the center. They are going to take some Sunoco fuel, 4 sticker tires for Justin Allgaier in the number 12 car. Guys?
How about that, Brad Keselowski? First one on and off pit road, or first one off pit road. Allgaier was the first one on, but you see the problem for Allgaier again. Another slow stop for Allgaier.
So now the work begins for the 12 car, because he'll be back in traffic, obviously.
Trouble on pit road for the 12. Not trouble for the 22.
Everyone?
Mike, only on ESPN Radio.
Back at Gateway International Raceway after our second round of pit stops, and Justin Allgaier hasn't had any trouble on track, but he's had trouble in the pits. A couple of slow stops.
Yeah, real struggle for Allgaier. He makes the last stop. They have all kind of problems on the right front corner of the car under his pit stop. So take a look at it right here. His pit road, normal looking stop over to the right side, comes up, left rear tire change is doing his job, or right rear, I mean. Watch the right front, he's still there. Lug nuts are falling off. He's lifting them up, he's putting them back on. Still don't have them on. Everybody's past him. See Keselowski go by. Here comes Carl Edwards in the frame right now. He's coming by. Mike Bliss. Sick feeling, man. They sit there, lead this race, and lose all this time on pit road.
Well, you've got Keselowski taking 2 tires there, makes the move to the front of the field. Carl Edwards is up there as well.
So we're less than
guys that
halfway.
started at the back.
Here we
less
go.
than halfway. They're up at the front. Let's check in with Rick DeBrule.
Well, to talk about a couple guys. Number 1, Sean Case right there, car number 39. He only took fuel, which is why he moved up so quickly. As for car number 16 right beside him, he only took 2 tires. That's why they were able to move up.
Thanks, Rick. We had 6 waiver rounds of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Sellers, Nemechek, Danica Patrick, Mike Wallace, McDowell, Ryan Truex in the 99 was the lucky dog.
It's always concerned me as a driver when you're amongst this group and there's such a variation in strategy. Some took 4, some took 2, some took no tires.
Takes patience.
It really does, Rusty.
Keselowski on the outside of the restart. It's he and Carl Edwards going to turn 1. Edwards got a nice run on the inside. Can he make it stick? Keselowski and Edwards side by side as they go down the backstretch, and they're 2 wide all the way back. Keselowski's going to take the advantage into 3.
The high side has prevailed on every restart and the initial start so far. Sean Case holding on strong on the outside there in 4th, even though he got no tires.
Case on the outside, Trevor Bayne in the 16 on the inside, and boy, they are stacked up behind them.
And it makes it worse. After you take on tires, that air pressure is down. These cars really don't handle that good. They're kind of sliding around a lot, so the pressure comes up. But the guy that's under fire right now is Sean Case right there. Trevor Bayne on the inside working them. These guys have got probably the worst tires of anybody right now. Doing a pretty good job to hold them off at the moment.
It's Leffler and Mike Bliss in the 38 and 33 just behind. Now Case loses ground up top. Bliss pounces on it, makes the pass.
And you got to pounce on it quick. While the tires are fresh, Vince, you just got to get it done right now. You can't be patient at this particular point when you got good tires and you make a pass because of it.
Yeah, you got to complete the pass. You don't want to run side by side all the way through the corner here. You'll suffer for it on the exit. Grind away on that right front tire.
Fanning out along the backstretch, and you've got 2 wide and going to be 3 wide, looks like here in a moment. Allgaier, after that bad pit stop, starting to make his way back up through.
Brendan Gaughan up in the wall right there. Got up in the gray, tore his car to pieces.
Heavy damage for the 62 of Brendan Gaughan, and the yellow is out.
And that was a product of the cars all being on different tires and just kind of getting bundled up.
Gaughan was running 8th at the time. Watch as he goes by Case, and they roll into turn 3.
See the car bouncing?
He just drove in too deep, Rusty. Like I say, the back of the car got away from him.
You see, he was really trying to settle in quick, get past Case, and just gets up in that gray. And we saw Reed Sorensen do that yesterday in practice. He lost it and tore the car up.
Look at it from the onboard camera of Steve Wallace. This is down the backstretch as they head into 3.
He could easily have his spotter saying, look, 3 wide, which you have a tendency as a driver to carry more speed in because of it.
Josh Wise was in that position right behind Steve Wallace, and all of them managed to avoid Brendan Gaughan.
Classic case of everybody trying to get into turn 3 too deep. They were probably carrying 20 miles an hour too fast going into turn 3 just then, guys.
So Danica Patrick's going to go back to the lead lap, and she's going to be coming to pit lane as well. 82 of 200 laps in the books at Gateway.
We all have
pep talk in every drop with triple soothing action.
Back at Gateway International Raceway, NASCAR Nationwide Series action. We've completed 84 of 200 laps. I want to remind you that the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series will have happy hour tonight from Martinsville, and you'll see it here on ESPN2 at 6:30. And the Cup guys get the green flag at Martinsville tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Coverage begins with Countdown at noon on ESPN2. And then, of course, NASCAR Now. You can't forget about it tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night. And that's also on ESPN2, and Monday at 5 o'clock time as well. Let's check in with our in-race reporter, Rusty.
Hey, Justin Allgaier, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us?
Yeah, Rusty, go ahead.
But you got a really fast pit crew down there, but every now and then things can go wrong. It looks like there's some lug nuts in the right front that drove.
Well, it's been difficult for the Verizon crew this afternoon. They've had two stops, and they've been slow on both of them.
And it can get into your head as a driver, and the tendency is that you try to make it up on the racetrack, which typically leads to trouble. So he needs to be patient, needs to relax. A lot of racing laps, show some composure, and another driver that has a chance to win this thing if he just uses some patience.
Well, we've got 29 cars on the lead lap, including the 7 of Danica Patrick. Currently running 26.
What about this, guys? Edwards, Keselowski up front. They started dead last. Amazing how fast they got up to the front. Lap 85. They're already there.
Keselowski will start on the outside. Carl Edwards will start on the inside as we restart, and they come barreling down toward turn 1. Back underway, green and Gateway.
I'm really curious. I'm wondering if Carl Edwards is shifting here because the inside is so difficult on the low side in turns 1 and 2 to complete the pass. You need that little extra RPM. And once again, the outside prevails.
Well, if he is, he's not going to tell us, but we can watch him because he's got an in-car camera.
Sneak up on him, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Look at Mike Bliss diving down, trying to get underneath the 16 of Trevor Bayne. Didn't make it on the entry to 3, but looks like he's going to complete it on the exit of 4.
Yeah, remember, Bayne's on 2 tires. The 33 car, Mike Bliss is on 4. Stephen Wallace is on 4. I'm really interested to see how these 2 tires are going to work for him because he's got a pretty fast car, Trevor does. Probably a good time to try it out. They're only 27 laps into a run. Rick, what's he saying about the car?
Well, I can tell you he has not been happy with the car most of the afternoon. It's one of those things early on he was saying it was really bumpy. Then he was saying that the whole car will feel just out of sorts and the track going through the bumps. He's really having to work to stay in that position. In fact, considering what he said on the radio, it's amazing that he's in the top 5.
Well, there's Brad Keselowski leading the way as they come back across the start-finish line. Lap 88 complete. By the way, Keselowski's been warned by NASCAR to keep a consistent speed on those restarts. Restarts are so important as you see Bliss and Steve Wallace battling for position. What a great battle for 4th.
These guys have been racing side by side. Bliss's car looks like it's taking just a little bit to get going.
And look at the 12 as Allgaier lurking. Allgaier's been in the front throughout the course of the afternoon. Certainly has the best car it has seen through the first 88 races, but they've had 2 problems in the pits, and that's stuck him back in the pack a little bit. Allgaier running 6th.
Tell you what, guys, I just love this racetrack. They get down into turn 1 and they get so slow, they get all on top of each other. It's a big drag race down the back straightaway. And I've been watching a lot of these folks. They are carrying that so much speed into turn 3, trying to make it up. It's unreal. And it causes some crashes.
Yeah, that's where you get into trouble. Drivers love racetracks that challenge them. And this track is a challenging racetrack.
Nothing like it out there, Ricky.
No,
a mile and a quarter, flat, different corners. Hate to see this place go, guys.
Justin Allgaier has moved alongside the 33 of Mike Bliss, so he's doing exactly what he said he would do when he was talking with you, working his way to the front. Look at this, 3 wide amongst this. Danica Patrick.
Brendan Gaughan's car. They patched that thing back together. He's on the lead lap and still, there's 1 lap down. I take that back. But still running pretty quick with that battered up car.
Boy, this is aggressive though, isn't it? This is 3 wide. We're less than halfway through the race. And they survived it.
Sometimes you sit and watch these races, you see them all clogged up, and you think, where's the next caution going to come from? And you see them 3 and 4 wide. Let's try right there first.
There's Danica pulling up alongside of the 15 of Michael Annette.
She's getting racy. Danica's learning. She's getting faster and faster as this race goes on.
I can't believe that Brendan Gaughan is running as well as he is with the back of the car all tore up like it is. Of course, the spoiler's 3 feet high now.
It's real high. And sometimes the more downforce you got, the faster you go. Sometimes it just makes the front end push real bad. It doesn't handle it all, but it doesn't seem to be hurting him too much right now.
Sean Case in that white car just up ahead of Danica on the right side of Michael Annette. Case starting to fall back. He's in 23rd now after the team elected to forego tires on that initial pit stop.
Yeah, now it'll pay off. It'll work against him as they run longer, obviously, but we've got him track position for a little while. Joe Nemechek got really close to the wall on the corner exit there. Boy, these guys are really going at it.
See Shelby Hires right there. Here's the guy who really felt sorry for last time here. Got in that big wreck with Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards when they got into it. That was a brand new Kevin Harvick car he had that he just destroyed. But Hey, look, Danica's looking better and better. Shannon, what are they saying down there?
Well, just slowly tuning on the car for Danica. It started off loose. They went a little bit too far on the adjustments, so they went back on a track bar on that last pit stop. But one thing that Danica is really trying to work on here at this racetrack is just making passes on cars. Tony Jr. is telling her, you have to be closer to the car in front of you before you make your move. In IndyCar, they get very close very fast, and right now she's just trying to judge that suck-up distance to the car in front of her so that she can make moves and move up through the field.
Danica really impressed me this weekend. Even though she didn't qualify well, she showed her commitment. She ran the most laps in practice of any driver, and that's what you expect of somebody that has a broad learning curve. She's showing the dedication, and she's making progress each week. She's making progress in this race.
Well, Ricky, she started 41st. She's up to 25th right now. So if you're in the numbers, try that. I mean, she's definitely getting up there right now.
Right now at the front, it's Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards. They started 39th and 40th, and they are at the front as we've got a caution on the track, and it's the 88 Junior Motorsports machine. Josh Wise has gotten into the wall.
It's a right front fender damage there.
Tore it up pretty bad. I think they can repair it, but maybe that was a part of the action there.
Talk about Paul Menard having left front fender damage to start with. It looks like he got a little bit more. I don't know if it was because of this or it's just a coincidence or what.
Boy, what a heartbreaker. Josh Wise was running 9th. Menard was 8th, so those two were battling for position.
See, Brendan Gaughan gets a free pass. That car is tore up so bad, Brendan's car is, and he gets the free pass now. Now they can come back down pit road and work on it, try to get it better.
Well, let's take a look at the replay of what happened between Josh Wise and Paul Menard. This is on board for the 99. Look up ahead.
Definitely related, because when Menard got past him.
Hard to tell from that angle of what actually started the incident.
Yeah, I believe Menard is ahead of him, and I saw some smoke coming from Menard's car after Josh had spun, so they might have made contact on the exit of 4.
Now the left front tire's down, and he's got to be real careful it doesn't fly apart and tear the left front fender clear off this car, because that's what happens. The only way to keep from doing that is just slow down.
Yeah, he might regret that, Rusty. He had a chance to pit on the previous lap, but obviously doesn't want to go down a lap.
A lot of the guys that didn't put no tires on or just put 2 tires. The only one that's really working for right now is Trevor Bayne. He's in 4th position. It's been holding on for him, but Sean Case paid for it big time, but it's like the leader's staying out right now, guys.
You know what drivers are like. They're like, don't do that to me again.
Yeah, that's right.
Menard's going to get worked on, but Brad Keselowski stays on the track at Gateway.
Build it.
Monday Night Football, Giants Cowboys at 8:30.
Back at Gateway International Raceway, let's get caught up on what's happened so far with the 5-hour Energy Rapid Recap. It's the final race here at Gateway International, so fans were able to sign the wall, leave their mark. For Danica Patrick, she started 41st. Has been working hard to stay on the lead lap. This guy's been taking care of business on track, but in the pits they've had problems. 2 pit stops, slow stops both times. They've lost positions on the track each moment. Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards, they have been moving up toward the front all afternoon long. They started 39th and 40th. Right now they're running 1-2, just as they were last July when they came toward the checkered flag here at Gateway International Raceway. And of course we know how that one ended up. And we talked at the Countdown Show, guys, about how they put that behind them. They're not going to, that's not going to be an issue again today. But we knew they'd be running around one another all afternoon, and we've seen it, but it's been clean.
Yeah, and so they don't come into the weekend anticipating that they're going to pick up where they left off. They put it behind them. But a lot of times, the heat of the moment creates a situation, brings out the worst in you. And we haven't seen that from them. They're both professional, but we still got to finish this thing. And it appears as though these are the 2 cars to beat right now, although you got to give credit to Justin Allgaier. He's battled himself back.
For the third week in a row, the number one team in college football facing a tough road test. ABC Saturday Night Football featuring the Oklahoma Sooners trying to remain atop the BCS standings, heading to Columbia, Missouri to face the 11th ranked Tigers tonight. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC. 8 o'clock Eastern this evening, 5 o'clock Pacific. Carl Edwards, a big Missouri Tigers fan.
Hey, what, Vince, I don't want to jinx these two in the front, but we had a stat that said anybody in the last 11 races here, nobody out of the top 10 in starting positions has ever won this race. And they both have to mess up, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They're going to be coming to the restart here, and the pace car will dive down off pit lane. Remember, Brad Keselowski has been warned by NASCAR to keep a consistent speed as he prepares for the restart. Keselowski has chosen the outside again, and as Ricky has noted, it's been the preferred line so far. They're back under green. The green flag waves, and Keselowski jumps out heading to 1.
Yeah, so NASCAR warned him. They don't want to see him accelerate and then decelerate and accelerate again. That was a nice, smooth restart. About what we expected, the outside. Carries the momentum in and out of turns 1 and 2, and it's going to get busy in the back again.
Look at Trevor
stacking up.
Look at Trevor Bayne and Justin Allgaier side by side going into 3.
Like, who's got the most nerve to sail down to that corner the most before they get out of the gas pedal? All playing with chicken with each other, get down to turn 3. They come off of turn 2 kind of okay, and when they get to turn 3, they're locked in each other's bumpers.
Danica Patrick in the 7 car, that bright green machine, 3 wide as they come down the front stretch.
Yeah, she has been mixing it up whether she wants to or not. She is in the heat of the battle with so many other cars here. She's handling it well. Here goes Carl Edwards
for the lead. Edwards getting underneath Keselowski, and Keselowski's teammate Justin Allgaier giving it a look. Keselowski doesn't want to give it up, though. Look at Keselowski hanging it out on the outside.
Tough situation for Carl Edwards when you drive underneath a car and then there's one in your mirror. Justin Allgaier can complicate matters. If he gets really close to you, you lose the back of your car, and of course he's underneath Brad Keselowski.
More on the 22 of Brad Keselowski, Rick DeBrule.
I want to talk about the fact that Keselowski was saying that for the first couple laps of every stint, he says the car is just a little bumpy, it's hard to get a hold, but then it settles down. That's why the first couple laps he's sort of okay, and then after that he said things start to feel in, come in, and he's doing much, much better after that. As for Carl Edwards, well, you can see he's got a chase on his hands. Oh, we got a yellow flag on the track.
Well, we've got a lot of cars getting piled up right on the front straight, and there's no room to go for several of them. Stenhouse is involved in that, the 6, the 10 of Wimmer.
There's literally no way through this.
Jeff Green,
Shelby Howard, see that, guys? He got the big wreck last time here, and he's in it again. Turned around backwards at the start-finish line. What is it about the straightaways that they keep wrecking in?
Sean Case, the 39. There's Brendan Gaughan.
But I think this all started back toward the exit of 4. And most of them got swept into it. But they were racing hard. I mean, we saw a lot of 3-wide racing here on every one of these restarts.
Boy, a lot of torn up equipment there. The 11 car of Brad Sweet.
Want to see those
as well?
Want to see those window nets go down? Make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah, look at Brad Sweet's right front, completely locked up. I don't know what's causing that, but these cars are torn to smithereens. Big fire, Ricky Stenhouse.
6 car. Shut that off. He's got an oil line or something busted, so he doesn't need to refire it.
That's Scott Wimmer walking away from his car. The all-black driver's suit. Good to see Shelby Howard get out of that ML Motorsports machine. Ricky Stenhouse there in the 6, climbing out. They've thrown the red flag. The front straight is just about completely blocked off either with cars or debris, so they have thrown the red, and they've stopped everyone on track on the back stretch. 10 cars involved in this one.
Let's take a look at this replay and try to find out what happened here.
There it is, off the turn 4.
10 car.
Gets hit from behind, maybe by the 6 car, Ricky Stenhouse, and then they all react. So a lot of times it isn't the action, it's the reaction.
It actually looked to me like the 10 car of Scott Wimmer just flat got loose and got up alongside. Let's take one more look here.
Yeah, that's a tough call. I'm not sure that Stenhouse actually got into him until after he was sliding, Rusty. You might be right.
Watch it from the onboard of the 7 car of Danica Patrick. One of the tough parts for these cars is the cars trying to get through. You had one up high and one down low, and there wasn't much room to go through to miss any of the mess.
Yeah, we thought that Danica Patrick, who we're riding with here, got through, but she actually got hit in the right rear. She got a pretty big hit here. Might have knocked the rear out of alignment.
See if we can see where it all gets started here.
Right there, the 10 car and everybody else just reacting to it.
Boy, Josh Wash got through there. Danica Patrick, Mike Wallace, they barely had enough room on the inside to get through, but what do we got here? Like 8, 10 cars destroyed right now, guys.
Rusty, how many times have you been in a wreck and it's because you saw the incident, you lifted, and the guy behind you didn't?
Yeah, that happens a lot, you know. Chain reaction. It happens on the 5 out in California a lot.
There you see all the cars stopped on the backstretch as this red flag is out. Danica Patrick, as we noted from that onboard, believes she's got some damage on the right rear from one of those cars that made contact with her as she tried to get through the mess. Those are the cars involved in the accident. A lot of damage. Brad Keselowski is your leader here at Gateway.
NASCAR.com. Check it out.
Under red flag condition at Gateway International Raceway, a 10-car accident gives us an opportunity to remind you about the Sprint Cup Series at Martinsville. Happy hour tonight, 6:30 Eastern on ESPN2. And they'll race it tomorrow in the Cup Series at Martinsville, 1 o'clock on ESPN. Coverage begins with Countdown at noon on ESPN2. And then tomorrow morning, NASCAR Now, 9 a.m. And then again at 10 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. That's 10 p.m. Eastern. And then Monday night, 5 o'clock on ESPN2. Get you caught up on everything that happened over the course of the weekend. Boy, it has gotten ugly here at Gateway on the front stretch with a 10-car pileup. Starts with Scott Wimmer getting turned. We can't tell if he's turned from by Ricky Stenhouse or if he just got loose and Stenhouse happened to be there to help him around, but then it all broke loose.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate a lot, but I did see the 10-car of Scott Wimber really jump loose real suddenly, so he might have got just a little bit of a tap to start this. Take a look one more time. We can't hardly tell right there. It's already happened. A lot of smoke. Right now it's a time of survival to get through all this stuff.
Jim Noble's downstairs. He's with Scott Wimmer. Jim?
Well, Vince, we'll pose that question to Scott Wimmer. Were you turned by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. or were you just loose?
Yeah, I was just loose. Not unless he tried to turn me, but we were actually making up a lot of ground. We were up inside top 15 there, and just got a little free underneath another car. Wanted to stay off of him, and I think Ricky got into me. So it's not really his fault. We struggle with the car all day, but got to thank Mr. Turner for giving me this opportunity, and hopefully I'll see you guys next year.
All right, Scott Wimmer had been making gains, but his day comes to an end, guys.
That's disappointing for Wimmer and that 10 machine. Well, we were seeing some of the cars that got caught up in that. We mentioned 10 cars involved. Danica Patrick was able to get through there. It will be interesting to see how much damage she might have had because, Ricky, you know that there was a little bit of contact there on the right rear. Let's find out maybe how much damage she did get. Shannon Spake?
Well, down here with our crew chief, Tony Uri Jr., who is watching the highlights. I know that's not something you want to see. It looked like she was just about to get through there. How much damage is on the car?
It doesn't look like it's too much. We got a little bit of fender damage, it looks like, on the left rear. I don't know really what's happening with the right rear, but it doesn't look like it's too bad. But I'm really proud of her. That's probably the first time she's ever had to drive through an accident like that at a short track. So she's doing good today. We're pretty happy, and we'll get her tuned up here and see what we can come out with.
All right, guys, looks like they're going to bring Danica down and fix her up a little bit. Rick?
Well, one guy doesn't need any fixing right now, and that's Brad Keselowski standing by with Paul Wolfe. And I asked a moment ago, I said, so what's the plan for the second half of the race? What are you going to tell us?
We're not sure yet. We've had a good start to the race. Brad's been real patient, and we took our time getting to the front. And now we're just making small adjustments. Our car was real close. Got to thank Parker Klingerman for practicing for us yesterday. Brad wasn't able to be here. So got us close, and we're just making small adjustments. 60's real strong. So we'll continue to work on a discount tire Dodge here the last 100 laps, and feel like we should have a shot at it.
So as you watch Carl's car, is there something you think you need to do in terms of adjustment to fend him off?
I mean, we just got to run our own race. He's strong. We just need to get our car exactly where Brad wants it, and we should be fine.
All right, Paul Wolfe. Jim Noble?
Well, Brad Sweet is the next of what I fear is going to be a long line of guys coming out of this infield care center. What was your perspective? Because it looked like it started in front of you. Then what did you see?
I just, come up a 4 there wide open, and the holes just closed. The whole front straightaway just kind of converged, and there was nowhere to go. I just locked up the brakes and, hung on.
I know a priority for you today was making some laps, getting some seat time. It didn't turn out that way, but how was this experience?
It was great. I just got to thank Great Clips and Doug Stringer and, Steve Turner and all the people that, allowed me to do this. And, it's too bad we didn't make it, but we were competitive all weekend, and, we'll look forward to.
All right, that's Brad Sweet. Hopefully his next nationwide start will last a little longer, guys.
Thanks, Jim. We had 1 caution in the first 75 laps, 4 in the last 30 laps. It's gotten busy. Brad Keselowski is your leader.
Come on!
Big is beautiful.
Corral, help yourself to happiness.
Welcome back to the 5-Hour Energy 250 at Gateway International Raceway, just across the bridge from St. Louis. Hey, make sure you go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information, NASCAR.com. Check out the starting lineup for tomorrow's race at Martinsville, the Cup race, the race in the chase. Hey, for the 3rd week in a row, the #1 team in college football faces a critical test on the road. ABC's Saturday Night Football featuring the Oklahoma Sooners trying to remain atop the VCS standings. They got a tough one, Columbia, Missouri, against the 11th ranked and undefeated Missouri Tigers. One of those teams going to suffer their first loss of the season. Tonight, Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines. And tonight, Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC, 8 o'clock this evening. Let's check in downstairs with Jim Noble. Jim?
I'm standing here with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Scott Wimmer just told us he felt like he got loose in front of you. I'm going to assume that's not much consolation because I thought you had a pretty decent race car today.
Tell you what, we struggled with our City Financial Ford Fusion since we got here. But, we made awesome adjustments throughout the race. Mike Kelly and the guys did an awesome job. We got off the lead lap, we got back on the lead lap and was making up spots pretty fast. And, I felt like we had, a 10th place car there, and I was just easing our way through. And, I almost put it 3 wide on the entry at turn 4 or 3 there, and decided better of it, and got back to the throttle there coming off of 4, and looked like the 10 had to check up, and as soon as I checked up, we were already into him. So I just hate it for all the City Financial guys, Jack Roush, everybody. We've turned this season around. We've been running well. This is unfortunate, and sorry for everybody else who got in that wreck. It's not good to tear up stuff, but we'll be back at Texas and be ready to go.
We're glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Guys?
Yeah, tough break for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He had 5 DNFs in the first 12 starts of the 2010 season. And we talked a lot about the problems that he had early on, but how he has really made things better. That's his first DNF in his last 17 starts. So certainly he had turned his season around. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the Rookie of the Year points leader heading into today's race. Let's go back to Jim Noble. Jim?
All right, next up is Sean Case after that great qualifying effort. I know this is not what you wanted at all. What did you see out the front of your windshield?
Yeah, I'm fine. It really wasn't that big of a deal. It's just everyone started kind of coming together. I'm sure you got a lot of depressed drivers, so I'm not going to be depressed over here. I'm still really excited about the opportunity that I get with Go Green Racing. We got a little bit behind in the beginning of the race on tires. The track changed quite a bit from what the car was in practice, so we were trying to battle through that and get some track position. But I got a little taste of running Talladega at Gateway Speedway. I don't know, just people were going 3-4 wide, left and right, and I don't know, just no respect out there. I mean, Brendan Gaughan was one of them. Danica Patrick, I mean, she went 4 wide on me. There's a lot of guys out there that just don't have any respect. I mean, I don't know what lap it is, but there's still a lot of time to go, and there's just no need for that. All the drivers talk about give and take, and I didn't see much out there, especially someone that is only my 5th start, so getting out there, you're in very expensive equipment, and you're trying to showcase your sponsors and have a really good show. And I just saw a lot of overdriving and a lot of mistakes, but just got caught up in the big one at St. Louis. But I'm okay. I want to say hi to my wife and thank you so much for my sponsorship opportunities that Rims One came on board, and hopefully we can build on this. I know wrecking cars isn't what we need to do, especially to impress owners. But we just need to focus on finishing races and qualifying like what we did today.
All right, Sean Case, certainly not without an opinion on what caused that wreck.
Well, and so many of those drivers were just caught up simply because there was no other room to go. Once Stenhouse and Wimmer got around, there were a lot of others that were just caught up. Red flag at Gateway.
Nationwide Series. Get into it.
Gateway International Raceway NASCAR Nationwide Series, just over 16 minutes on this red flag, and you see we're just past the halfway mark of this 200-lap event, 97 laps to go. We're off next week, just the Cup guys at Talladega, but the NASCAR Nationwide Series will be back in action in 2 weeks with racing at the Great American Speedway. Texas, Kyle Busch has been dominant there. He's won the last 5 Nationwide Series races at Texas. 6 straight wins at one track would be a record. Certainly Kyle has plenty of records that he has put on the resume this year. 12 wins in the Nationwide Series for that 18 team this season. Well, we're sitting on the backstretch. The car's getting ready, hopefully, to fire up soon. There's a good look at Kenny Wallace and that Rusty Wallace racing machine. And what a strong run Kenny's had so far today, running in the top 10.
And Kenny's done an outstanding job. And you have to go all the way back to Memphis of last year to get Kenny's last top 10 finish. He's obviously in position to do that now. I talked with him this morning, and he said, "Ricky, I feel like I can drive again." And that's what happens when you go from a situation when you're in cars and the engines that don't have the horsepower. And not to take anything away from the program that he's been racing with, but it does not reflect in what he's capable of doing. This does. This is Rusty Wallace racing cars that have run up front all year, and it revives you as a driver, particularly late in your career, and you say, I can do this, and it's going to be fun to watch Kenny from here in these last 4 races.
Well, and with NASCAR's recent announcement in regards to ethanol and the fact that NASCAR will be using ethanol as part of its fueling, and then to have the Illinois corn farmers on board, it's a nice synergy between those two parties.
Yeah, he's really excited about this brand new sponsor. They've really come in strong, and first race for him, and I told him, I said, "Kenny, I want you to do good for him," and we found one of the best cars we had in the shop, prepared it identical to Brendan and Steven's car, put him in there. He qualified well. He's running 10th right now. Joe Gibbs' team is pitting the car, the pit crew. He's got a great engine with Triad under the hood, and it's the best equipment he's ever had. He is a complete different Kenny this week. He is really pumped up.
Yeah, good-looking paint scheme, too. Well done there. And one of those drivers that was involved in this big 10-car pileup was his teammate, Brendan Gaughan, and he's with Jim Noble.
Yeah, at least Brendan Gaughan could admire the paint job on Kenny Wallace's car while we were looking at that. We were tracking you. You had broken into the top 10. Thought you avoided that wreck, and then everything happened behind you, it seemed like.
And, the Kenny's car, that's now my Phoenix car. Kenny, please bring it home in one piece. No, I'm really proud of watching Kenny Wallace in the top 10 again. It's awesome to see him do it. That's just a little part, one of the byproducts of St. Louis. It's a great racetrack. We're surely going to miss it, but that's one of the things that happens here a lot. Somebody happened in front of us. Rich Woodland, my spotter this week, he called it. I was way back in the corner. I started lifting, blowing down, and I don't know who it was from behind. We just started getting hit, and stacked up into it. And as you see, the South Point Camry, the boys going to work hard. We're battling for top 10. We want to get back out there, try to at least get past a few guys, get a few points that we can, so we're going to keep digging.
All right, hit. I think I counted 6 cars that got in the back of Brendan Gaughan.
Well, and Brendan mentions the spotters, and that's a key position, especially at a racetrack like this. There's not a lot of room on that front straight to avoid things.
Right. You ever watch a Days of Thunder movie with all the smoke in turn 3 and 4? Look at all that smoke that those guys had to try to drive through. I mean, it was, obviously that's not the smoke, but a lot of smoke out there, and it's hard to look through all that stuff, guys.
Spotters are your conscience, and you get used to that, and you get comfortable with it.
Extra set eyes at Gateway.
People choose 5-Hour Energy over 7 million times a week for lots of reasons. It's a nutritional...
Well, that's a great sign. The cars are rolling after a red flag that lasted about 20 minutes or so, and we had a 10-car accident along the front straight. You see the cars are now just coming through that area, and there's still some cleanup equipment on track. What's it like for a race car driver to be sitting in a red flag condition for that long?
It's not ideal, and it's not ideal if you're Brad Keselowski or Carl Edwards, because you've gotten into a rhythm, your car's gotten better as the race has gone along. I think it helps a team that's running 8th, 10th, 12th place, because it gives you time to really break down what's bothering you or what's wrong with your car. You ordinarily wouldn't have that amount of time.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, Ricky, it lets you maybe overthink things sometimes. Sure. I mean, you're in a rhythm, you're running, you're racing, everything's going smooth, and all of a sudden you stop.
Danica Patrick in the pits. The 88 of Josh Wise came as well, maybe tending to some of that damage that Tony Eury Jr. spoke about.
I thought she got a pretty big hit. I saw the right rear tire sticking outside of the body, and hopefully they can make an adjustment.
Yeah, I'd say the track bar at the back of the car that keeps the rear end housing going left and right might have got, it's like you said, whenever you see a tire hanging out,
yeah,
it's probably there they are working on the track bar now. It looks like they're trying to straighten it out. It looks like it's bent.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing. It bent the track bar, put a big warp in it. They're trying to straighten it out, get the rear realigned, straighten everything back out, because she did hit that inside wall pretty substantial with that tire.
Let's take a look at the replay as we see the 88 of Josh Wise come into the pits. Of course, that's Danica's teammate for Junior Motorsports, and it's like, I'm going to go into this pit box. Wrong one. Let's move forward.
You'll have those days. Trust me. Same team.
It's the other teams that don't like you coming into their pit box, right?
Yeah. All part of the same family.
Well, Wise has made 8 starts in that 7 this season, so maybe just forgot which car number he was in. There you go. Well, Josh Wise and Danica Patrick both have had solid efforts so far here this afternoon, and they hope to continue that as we've just past the halfway mark. We're lap 106 of 200 so far here today at Gateway. The man up front is Brad Keselowski. He's led 30 laps. His teammate, Justin Allgaier, has led 70. But Allgaier's had a couple of problems in the pits. That's really been the big difference for him.
It really has. He's pretty well righted the ship, though, right now. I mean, he's running good right now. He's up in the 3rd position. His teammate's leading this thing. And he's able to calm down a little bit. He's had to be a little frustrated with the pit stop problems that have been happening. Let's get his composure back together right now. But he's got a fast car.
But he's gotten back in that track position. When you're looking at the track position, because of those pit stops, he's not been on the point. Sometimes when you're back 2 or 3 spots, you're in a little more traffic and the car handles differently.
Well, of course it does. And the air in front of you gets disrupted. And, what you have to be very, very precise at is the feedback that you give has to be in consideration to where you're at, in line or where you're at relative to other cars. If you're going to win this race, and if you're going to beat the 22 or the 60 car, if you're going to beat Brad and Carl, you're going to have to be very good at what your weakness is. Give it to your crew chief. Say, look, I need to be stronger here. And you got to be thinking about it here in the next 30, 40, 50 laps. You might get one shot at this, one more pit stop.
See the guys swerving back and forth, trying to clean off those tires. Let's get more on that from the NASCAR Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer. Brewer?
Driver would like to have 4 sticker tires on a restart. But if they elect to stay on the racetrack with used tires, see this carnage, this build up? You see the guys swaying the cars back and forth on the racetrack. What they're trying to do is clean this material off, so on a restart the tire will look more like this, so they don't spin the tires.
How's that make the car feel when the tires have debris on it?
It'll make you feel like you got a flat tire. In fact, we saw Ryan Truex hit pit road saying he has something wrong with the tire, and the crew said there's nothing wrong with his tire. He had buildup on the tires that told him there's something wrong when there wasn't nothing wrong. You got to be patient. You got to get about 2 laps into it to get all that stuff off the tires. Then you're back to normal.
These are the fundamentals. These are the things that you always learn the hard way as a race car driver, and it happens to you once. You retain it. You don't make the mistake again.
The Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski sitting 1-2. Keselowski in the lead. Edwards is second. Remember, Edwards started 39th. Keselowski started 40th. The fans on their feet anticipating this restart. Keselowski on the outside. The green flag waves, and we are racing again at Gateway.
Keselowski got a great jump. So did Mike Bliss. To the outside of Carl Edwards. And he is going to pass him on the exit. In fact, he might get alongside Keselowski.
Here we go. What a great run for Bliss, carrying that momentum.
Talk about momentum. This is where the problems started happening. They drag resets over down into turn 3. A lot of speed. Everybody playing a little chicken with each other, trying to make the pass right there.
So when this happens, so he clears him off of turn 4. Keselowski actually keeps him honest, and now he slides in behind him. But Keselowski's, these cars have been sitting a long time. The air pressures have gotten really low. We've seen the 22 takes 3 or 4 laps for the pressures to build up and the car to come around. But you do start to think, do I have a tire going down?
You wonder about it. because it takes a while to do, just like you said. And these restarts are the hairiest point.
Throw a blanket over that top four with Bliss, Keselowski, Edwards, and Allgaier.
He sailed it down in there, guys.
You see on the right side of the screen, Danica Patrick on pit road. They're still having problems getting that car repaired following the contact. Bliss leads him down the front straight, and Mike Bliss back in front. He's led 8 laps today. That Kevin Harvick machine.
That is really great for the sport. You got a couple of nationwide regulars taking on a couple of the big boys, Brad Keselowski, Carl Edwards, who have dominated the series over the last few years, and they're mixing it up.
Keselowski, the series point leader, something drastic would have to happen for him to not secure the championship. In fact, he could actually clinch the championship today. It's probably not going to happen, but it is possible. Let's get more on the 33 and Mike Bliss with Shannon Spake.
A little surprising they took off so quickly, because I spoke with Ernie Cope under that flag, and he was telling me that the car is very, very loose, and they're surprised that it has not tightened up. They've been really throwing everything at it, and the next stop they were really going to take a big swing at it. But right now that car looking good, despite the fact that Mike Bliss said that restarts here at Gateway have always been his Achilles heel. Rick?
Well, remember we were talking with the crew for Keselowski, and they were saying that the first couple laps of every restart that he's not comfortable with the car. It takes a few laps for it to come in, and that may be what you saw just happen there. He was able to get by him during those first couple laps. Now that things are starting to settle down, you see Brad Keselowski moving right beside Mike Bliss.
Keselowski jumps in front as they head into turn 3. Bliss trying to hang on the outside. Here comes Allgaier in third. Carl Edwards in fourth.
There's a lot of smoke right behind these guys. Looks like somebody's got a fender rub back there in the pack. There's a lot of smoke pouring off that car.
And Rusty, the 22 car is, 3 or 4 laps into this run now. The pressures have built up. The car feels a whole lot better. He completes a pass on the inside, and I expect he's actually going to distance himself from the 33.
Keselowski in the front as they go down the backstretch. We mentioned a moment ago that Keselowski came into this race today potentially able to clinch the championship, but there are too many cars out at this point, so Keselowski will not clinch the title over Carl Edwards, at least in this race today.
Really impressed with the job that Justin Allgaier has done. He's fought back from adversity at least twice today, and he's just maintained his composure. He's got a great car, he knows that, and he wants to just bide his time and seize the moment late in the race. He's doing a great job.
That car's turning good. I mean, I've been looking at these different cars. Look how high the front end is on the 60 car Carl Edwards. Next time we get a shot down the straightaway, look at the front ends on the 22 and the 12, the teammate cars. But in the middle of straightaway, Carl's car is way up on the nose, coming down the back straightaway. I can look at that. Look how high that thing is, guys.
Yeah, isn't that something? What's that tell you, Rusty?
It tells me that he's got softer rear springs or not enough rebound in the front end. The car doesn't have the attitude that the guys outrunning them's got right now. Look how high that is. See how low the 12 car is and the 22 up front? Carl's car looks like that front end is really lifted.
And we've actually noticed that about all of the Fords, the Roush Fenway cars this weekend have been bouncing through the corners. They've shown a lot of air underneath the spoiler. So, I mean, it's probably a package that they all came with. The fact that Carl wasn't able to practice, he wasn't able to perfect it to what he might like.
That's the key right there. If he would have run the car himself, he might have changed something right there. Although it's running pretty good. It's passing the 12 car, but what a big-time different look, the way the cars look compared to the guys he's racing.
Edwards seemed to maybe be a little quicker. Man, look how that front end. Edwards seemed to be a little quicker through the corner, but on the straightaway, he just can't make that pass on Allgaier and that Penske Dodge.
I would like to point out, when he's behind the car, that's when that nose gets high. And when he's got clean air hitting that nose, it's not near as high. So that's a complete different feel. Rick, that car looks way different than everybody. What are they saying down there?
Well, the intriguing thing is Carl Edwards has actually been saying very little on the radio. Very little feedback one way or the other. He's pretty much been happy with the car most of the day. They haven't been saying they needed to do one thing or another. But one intriguing comment he made, he said it's beginning to feel like a fuel economy run as opposed to a race.
Okay.
Interesting comment. Because it looked to me like a wreck fest for a while.
I'd say it's been plenty racing.
I was just thinking myself, there's a lot to worry about. I'm not sure I'd be worried about fuel, but we'll see.
There's Edwards. charging down into turn 1, trying to take a look under Mike Bliss. Looks like he's going to make that move as they head down the backstretch. So right now, Bliss and Edwards running 3rd and 4th. Edwards in that 3rd spot, Bliss in 4th. And they're all chasing the Penske Dodges of Brad Keselowski and Justin Allgaier. Steve Wallace running 5th in the 5-Hour Energy Toyota. It's that man, the points leader, on top, Keselowski.
The Bulls Thunder begins at 7 Eastern, followed by Blazers Clippers at 10:30.
Back at Gateway International Raceway, what a beautiful day. Initially this weekend they talked about some potential for rain, but it has been
wow, look at that,
awesome
guys.
Today.
Simultaneously shifting. Carl Edwards pushed it forward, watch this. Both come back. Answers our question. Was Justin Allgaier the only guy doing this? Carl Edwards doing it now? I got a feeling everybody's doing it.
Yeah, it's out of necessity. You know, in a perfect world, I don't think they'd want to shift. It complicates things a little bit, but they have to because the RPM gets so low down in turns 1 and 2. That gives them that little extra speed off of the corner.
Well, let me talk about why we're talking about this all the time. NASCAR wanted to get everybody away from that. They put gear rules in the transmissions that basically made it impossible to do that. They started at Pocono, Pennsylvania. They quit shifting there. Now they did it over here at St. Louis. They quit shifting here. But now it's changed again. We really don't want them to do this.
Well,
that's the reason we're saying so much about it. This is pretty new stuff.
Between you and I never wanted to do it either. It always complicated things for me. I was busy enough, and these guys have no problem doing it, and it's really not that hard by yourself. But when you're battling like these guys are back in 5th, you don't need to be shifting, and I expect they're probably not.
Here's a good look at that battle. That's the yellow car is the 32 of Reed Sorensen, and the 38 is his teammate Jason Leffler. Look at Sorensen pressure Leffler as those two go through the corner and out.
They both done an outstanding job, and for different circumstances, Jason Leffler's car hasn't looked good all weekend long, but he suffered through it. And then the obvious story with Reed Sorensen starting the race with a car that he hadn't run a lap.
Crashed his car in practice. And as you said, neither one have been all that thrilled with what they've had, but both doing a nice job here, running in the top 10. Shannon.
Reed Sorensen's day has not been good, guys. This car has been a handful. They put They put a rubber in the right rear, 2 rubbers out of the left front, track bar adjustment, wedge adjustment, air pressure. I caught up with Trent Owens during that caution period, and he told me it's getting a little bit better. Oh, a little bit better after all those changes. They're just looking for a long run here.
Well, it gives you an indication, though, how good equipment they have to begin with. If they're having those kind of problems and they're still running top 10, as you see a battle for 13th now with Ryan Truex in the 99. And look at Josh Wise trying to get up underneath him as they come down the straightaway heading to 1.
Yeah, both of these guys have had problems throughout the race. You saw Josh Wise spin. You saw Ryan Truex think he had a flat tire, and he didn't. Got the lap back. Now they're both on the lead lap again. Back to racing.
It's a great job for both of these guys. They both had incidents that would typically melt down a young driver. These guys are showing a lot of maturity in spite of their age.
Wise makes the pass now as they go into 3. He finished 8th here in July. That was his best finish of the season as Truex fights back as they now try to come off 4.
They are mixing it up. 72 laps to go. They got to be considering maybe one more stop. And if it's under green, we'll have to talk about pit road because it's not an easy place to get in and out of. They have to use an access road to get into pit road, access road to get off of pit road.
Yeah, you lose a lot of time there. If these guys have got to pit under green, you're definitely going to go a couple laps down probably before you get that thing straightened out. That was me hitting a wasp. Sorry about that. That was about the land of my hair.
That might have been the best move of the day.
See the camera on that one.
I'm sorry that all of you back at home couldn't see it, but it was a great move by Rusty Walms.
There's Josh Wise on the back bumper of Paul Menard. So Wise continues to pressure to try to make his way up an extra spot.
It wasn't that long ago that Josh Wise, as we said a moment ago, was backward, and the 98 had a tire rubbing and flat.
Sorensen trying to get that 7th spot complete, and does, as Leffler now looks to make the move back as they come off the 4. But Sorensen is going to handle it. Reed Sorensen coming down the main straightaway.
Yeah, both these guys are really good short track racers. Reed has actually won here in St. Louis before. Leffler, I think, was the first guy to win for Toyota when they came back into the sport. I believe that was at ORP back in Indianapolis area.
2007. See Wise kind of hang it out there as he came past Menard. These two have been around one another, it seems like, all afternoon long. And part of the tape, it looks like, out of that left wheel, left front wheel well flapping around a little bit.
Try to patch that car back up. They call bear bond. It's just incredible tape, I call it. It's about an 1/8 inch thick. It really fixes a lot of stuff. You see these cars tore to smithereens, and they can put that bear bond on there. It comes in about an 8-inch wide strip. They even make that stuff stick to oil sometimes. It's so good.
Menard 13th, Josh Wise 12th, and there's the battle for second as Carl Edwards looks to try to make the move on Justin Allgaier.
Talked earlier about the different setups, and you could see the front of Carl's car higher than the 12 or the 22 in front of him. And as the run goes along, that might work to his advantage, because it doesn't create as much front heat in the tires, in the front tires. So over the long run, the tires last longer, and that's why you'd see the 60 car Carl Edwards moving forward.
Not so locked down on the front wheels, which beats tires up, but sometimes you go too far, and I think this car's went just a little too far. I'm interested to see what it's going to look like if he gets in front of Justin Allgaier, if that settles down. It gives us a good idea to tell you how important aerodynamics really is when it gets fresh air to the front of that car to hold that nose down.
Good look at the front of the 60 car of Edwards out the back window of Justin Allgaier. Edwards creeping right back up on the bumper. Allgaier has led the most laps today, 70, but right now he's chasing his teammate Brad Keselowski, who has led 53 laps. Allgaier started on the pole. Keselowski and Carl Edwards started at the back. Edwards started 39th, Keselowski 40th. Didn't take him long to get up through the field, though, did it?
No, it really didn't. And if you're sitting in the 12 car, if you're Justin Allgaier, you're saying, I don't mind racing this way because I really trust the guy behind me, before we stretch this out too much and say, but wait a minute, look at all the trouble between Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards. That's personal. That's because that initiated because if you take something from me, I'm going to take it back. It escalates, and you don't have that between these two drivers. They've raced each other with respect, and they're really mixing it up on a track that's very difficult.
I'll point out the left front fender on the 12 car, Justin Allgaier. I was just watching it, guys. Look how it's caved in on the left front. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not good, because anytime you take that left front edge and move it inboard, that loses downforce, and it makes the car handle a little bit different. So you got into somebody somewhere.
How many times, Rusty, have you been in the car and you say to your crew chief, look, my car's really tightened up, and then 5 laps later he says, well, it might have tightened up because you pushed the left front fender in.
You know what? Sometimes the driver doesn't know that.
That's right.
They'll say, hey, did you remember hitting anybody? He goes, no. Well, the fender's all caved in.
And you might not know until you hit pit road, and they're close enough to identify it.
And they can come in on a pit stop, even on a green flag pit stop. As that tire's coming out, they can whack that with his hand and knock that thing right back out. So it's not something that's going to cost them a lot of time to fix.
The only 3 drivers in the field today that have won races in 2010, Carl Edwards, Justin Allgaier, and Brad Keselowski. They're in the top 3 now.
He was proud to give it his name.
The 22 of Brad Keselowski clicking off the laps here. 60 to go at Gateway International Raceway. He is on point after starting 40th today. Keselowski is your leader. Let's get caught up to speed, starting with the 18, and that's Brad Coleman. Jim Noble?
Brad Coleman's in that 18 car that has won so many races this year. He is really good in clean air, gets very tight when he's behind another car. Keep in mind, a little pressure on this kid. The owner's points battle going on. They're plus 119 over the 22 team, and Brad Coleman does not want to let that slip away before he gives the car keys back to Kyle Busch. Rick?
Matt DiBenedetto, also one of those guys, needs to make a stand. This is his last run in this car. Team says it's just kind of been one of those inconsistent days. They have a lot of highs, they have a lot of lows. Unfortunately, the lows tend to be out on the track, tend to make mistakes and get in place they don't belong, and then having to recover from it. But the good news is he seems to be recovering from it very well. Now, behind him is Trevor Bayne, and Trevor Bayne has had one of those days. This is the guy who sat on the pole in July. He finished 3rd. But remember, he's with a new team. Now, he's driving 16 for the first. Oh, we've got a problem with Trevor Bayne. No, it looks like he managed to recover. There was smoke out of the back tires, but apparently no serious problem. Remember, he's driving the 16 number for the first time, but he's been with that team all along. For the 3 races he's been with this team with those guys. Shannon?
And And you saw Josh Wise make the pass on the inside on Trevor Bayne. He's driving that number 88 car. This is his last start this season for Junior Motorsports, and he's wheeling that car on pure determination. He was involved in a wreck with Paul Menard back on lap 97, and he's just moved himself back into the top 10, hoping to end this run with Junior Motorsports on a high note. Jim?
Shannon, Kenny Wallace loves his race car right now. In fact, I'm surprised he hasn't thanked Rusty personally himself. He says, I love this motor. Anybody can run top 15 with a motor like this. His only problem, if he enters the turn high, he will not be able to cut down across the middle. But that's it. Kenny Wallace loving life right now. Shannon?
Right behind him is Paul Menard in the number 98 car. What a day it has been for Paul Menard. He came all the way from Martinsville, got in that car. He said he was having motor issues. There wasn't enough speed in the car. Then he had an overheating engine, fender damage, a wreck with Josh Wise, and right now he is holding steady in the 12th spot, just hanging on and trying to get through this race. Guys?
Thank you, guys. Nice job down there on pit road on the up to speed. And there's Stephen Wallace coming in for a stop.
Unscheduled stop, I would say. He's not doing the pit road. Must have a tire problem or something like that. Shannon?
Stephen Wallace is saying he needs the front to turn a little bit better. It is tight getting into those turns. You see it's going to be a 4-tire stop for Stephen Wallace. They're also going to take some Sunoco fuel, and he is down and away.
Well, it seems a little bit early, Rusty, but the fact is that they know they can go the rest of the way from here, and it'll be interesting to see how many other teams follow suit.
He was running 5th when he came in for that stop. Good solid run for Steve in the 5-hour Energy Toyota.
Getting back to Trevor Bayne, and we watch Brad Keselowski. He's got his hand out. He's thanking the gentleman behind him for the pass. Trevor Bayne locked up his left front tire earlier, so no harm. Continues to roll on.
The Penske cars out front. Brad Keselowski and Justin Allgaier running 1-2 as they work their way through lapped traffic. There's a lapped car between the two right now as they come down the backstretch and head toward turn 3. Let's check in with Jim Noble.
Brad Coleman's in the 18 for his final pit stop of the day. He hopes they're around to the left side. It'll be a 4-tire stop. Just a slight air pressure adjustment. The car still a little bit too free. Brad Coleman down and away. Rick.
Trevor Bayne had brought his car in as well. They're making a track bar adjustment on the right rear wedge adjustment. 4 tires. They're going to go ahead and send him back out with Sunoco fuel. He's had a really tough day. He's had some fender damage. Car hasn't worked the way he's wanted, but all things considered, he isn't doing bad in it.
Starting to make those final stops.
Talk about pit road and how difficult it is to pit under green here. And Brad Keselowski had his hands full here in July when he came on pit road and overshot. You see Kenny Wallace making his pit stop.
Gibbs guys pitting that car. Jim Noble.
Kenny Wallace wants just a slight adjustment. He really loves his race car, as we told you a couple of minutes ago, but they're a little slow right now on that left side. The gas is in. Finally, the jack goes down. 23.3 seconds. Not the stop Kenny Wallace wanted.
That's painful. You know, and as a race car driver, you sense how long a pit stop is. You sense if a pit stop is 1, 2, 3 seconds long. You surely identify a 10-second long pit stop.
Well, they need an hourglass for that one.
You're sounding like Kevin Harvick.
like Kevin Harvick.
Sorry, Kevin. We're just having fun with you today.
There's Ryan Truex pulling away after his stop. Brad Keselowski in the Discount Tire Dodge. He's been out front for 69 laps. His next lap led when he comes across the line will equal that of teammate Justin Allgaier for most laps led here today. 50 laps to go in this race. The final race at Gateway International Raceway. And Brad Keselowski, who came off turn 4 with the lead here in July, but didn't cross the finish line first. As you see, Leffler really have to get on it hard as he came in pit road. Let's go to Jim Noble.
You're right, Vince. He almost got into the outside retaining wall. That gets him slowed down in his pit. He's really tight right now. 4 tires, full on Sunoco racing fuel, rear wedge adjustment, and left side air pressure adjustment. They've changed everything but the color on this race car. And still, Jason Leffler has been hanging on to the top 10.
I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a penalty. I mean, he came in there so fast, Rusty. Typically, when you slide into that first segment, you're in trouble.
Tell you what, these pit stops are coming about on track. I thought I was a little bit earlier. Brad Keselowski last pitted lap 76, so anytime he's doing right now, but I tell you, the three guys are going to mess his whole show up as far as the strategy. Is Josh Weiss, he last pitted on 105, then you got down to Jeremy Clements, he's 107. Michael Annett, strategies happening around. Jim?
That's right, Brian Scott's car has been loose in, tight in the middle, loose off pretty much the whole day. They've been making smaller adjustments. Now they're going to make a big one. A 4-tire stop around to the left side. More Sunoco Racing Fuel going in. Brian Scott didn't think he had anything at the beginning of this race, but the car has gotten better every time they've made adjustments.
The pit crew is really important during these green flag stops, too.
Well, there's a lot of pressure for everybody. There's a lot of pressure for the drivers to execute pit road perfectly. This is when you want to have your money stop. This is when you want to be at your best. And this is when you want that 13.5, 14-second stop. It's when it matters most. There's always an urgency on these long front stretch racetracks to get off pit road, and a lot of times that leads to a speeding penalty.
The Mad Croc Chevy of Mike Bliss heading your way, Shannon Spank.
Yep, that is a new sponsor for Mike Bliss on that 33 car. He's going to bring it down pit road. They are going to make no changes for Mike Bliss. They're only going to take some sticker tires. You see those guys headed over the wall right now, just trying to get a good finish for this KHI car. Mike Bliss making his 8th start at this track. They were looking for a little veteran experience to make this car wheel around Gateway in the last race here at this track, guys.
Well, it's already been a good day for Kevin and Delana. A little slow there on the rear change on the left rear, but KHI won the truck race earlier today at Martinsville. Ron Hornaday taking it to victory lane.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with what Kevin and Delana have done with their program. I mean, they just built outstanding trucks and cars, and they seem to win every week.
Here comes Paul Menard. Shannon Spake is there waiting.
Well, it was a disappointing week last week at Charlotte for Paul Menard when he blew a motor. They are really turning things around here today, despite having every issue that could possibly go wrong. You see the car right now pulling in. The guys are going to go to work on the right side. It's going to be 4 tires for Paul Menard, and you do see there is a chassis adjustment. Rick?
It's interesting. When you talk to both these teams, they tell you that Carl Edwards says they need to run their race. Keselowski needs to run his, but it's amazing how they're pretty much in lockstep. Carl says he thinks he has a winning chassis. He says they just need to tighten it up just a little bit. They got a clean stop, got Sunoco fuel in, they're out. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see Keselowski coming in as well. He's been very happy with the car all day, hasn't wanted much in the way of changes. Really, you're up to the first few stops where they made changes. After that, it's strictly been some air pressure adjustments. Now, remember, after each stop, he's been saying that the first couple laps are the toughest for him. So he's got to get out there, make sure he can do as well as he can during these first 2 stops. Let's see, they got a track bar adjustment on the right rear. Everything's going smoothly so far. More Sunoco fuel in, 4 tires, and they're going to send them back out. Shannon?
Justin Allgaier says he's completely lost the ability to get through 1 and 2. A place where he says he's always been good. They're going to take 4 tires. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and try to pull out that fender a little bit.
When this all shakes out, we're going to see which of the 3 drivers running in the front was willing to take more risk carrying speed onto pit road, more risk carrying speed off of pit road, because we know that Brad Keselowski was leading, Carl Edwards was 3rd, but how did it work out after the pit stop?
Well, one thing I saw also, some of these guys short stopped. They're actually short pitting to try to get fresh tires and get the speed and get out of there, because they were in their window now. They can go about 75 laps, and some of them pitted, in that window, get the fresh tires to try to get the speed. I've seen this happen a lot this year, short pitting.
32 of Reed Sorensen is the leader. You see 43 laps to go. Josh Wise 2nd, Jeremy Clements 3rd. Those 3 still need to stop.
Sorensen's got about 20 laps more than the leaders that were pitting, Brad Keselowski, so he can keep going for just a little bit longer before he's got to hit pit road and get some fuel and tires in his car.
Remember, we've had reports from pit lane today that he's had his hands full with that race car, that 32. That's the backup car after he crashed in practice on Friday.
Well, when you wreck the primary car, you really can't complain much. And I'm only talking from experience, okay? But he's doing a great job today.
I tell you, the problem with the top 3 guys that are staying out there right now, Sorensen, Josh Weiss, Jeremy Clements, they're almost about 0.6 of a second slower than the leaders. So when they do pit, they're going to be way behind, guys.
Yeah, interesting time right now, isn't it? Because the caution would change the whole complexion of the race with guys that really didn't appear to be contenders running among the top 6.
Shannon?
Yeah, guys, Reed Sorensen having radio issues. The team cannot hear Reed. That's what they just told me. They are going to try to bring it down pit road, though, and they're going to make some adjustments on this car because it's still running tight. It's going to be a spring rubber and a track bar, but right now, just not having a good time on the radio. And you see Reed Sorensen still wheeling his way around the racetrack.
40 laps to go at Gateway. Sorensen still has to make another stop, but right now he is the man in front. And here he comes. Oh, got off a little bit, a little four-wheeling there as he got into the access road, a little hot coming into turn 3.
A great recovery.
So Reed Sorensen woes it up as he comes into that first timing line, making his way down pit lane. Shannon Spake is there waiting on Reed.
And the team is waiting on Reed as well. Man, this has been such a day for this team. It is a backup car because we spun in final practice yesterday, and they have been making adjustments all day. Spring rubbers in, spring rubbers out. They're going to go ahead and put a spring rubber in the right rear. You see those guys working on that right now as they then move around to the left side, still working on that right rear. And there they come around the back side of the car. They also made a track bar adjustment, and they're going to take Sunoco fuel. And of course, 4 tires, but what a day it has been for this team.
With Sorensen coming in to make his stop, that leaves the 88 to front the field, and that's the Junior Motorsports machine of Josh Wise. Wise has had some contact of his own today, but right now he's the man leading the way with 38 to go at Gateway.
Built College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, Saturdays.
For the first time in his NASCAR Nationwide Series career, Jeremy Clements is out front. He's going to have to make a stop yet in these final 34 laps, and that is going to relinquish the lead to the man behind him, and that would be Brad Keselowski. But for now, Clements is enjoying the view from out there.
I wouldn't pit. Heck with it, man. Get all the TV time you can get to run this baby out of gas, then we'll pit. That's what he needs to do.
It is great experience for the young man, and he certainly deserves it.
By the way, when we went to break, Josh Wise was in the lead in the 88, and that Realtree Outfitters Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports did pit during our commercial break. So Wise has now returned to the track and has picked up his position, but right now it's Jeremy Clements. He still has to make one final stop, and when he does, that would turn the lead to Brad Keselowski, and Keselowski has led a race-high 76 laps today. There's been some Penske dominance out front today. Keselowski's led 76. Allgaier's led 70.
When we see him pit, I think net, we're going to have the 3 guys who are running 1, 2, 3 be relatively the same position, the distance between them, as before they pitted.
Well, right now, Brad Keselowski is only 3.5 seconds behind Jeremy Clements right now. Clements can go to about lap 180, guys. Got about another 12 laps of gas in that tank to keep on going. I think probably by then Keselowski will catch him. But, hey, it's a good gamble. I do the same thing. Caution comes out here pretty soon. Still on the lead lap.
Yeah, Allgaier's actually closed the gap on Brad Keselowski a little bit. And that just could be a product of the car running better on the low air pressure, on the newer tires.
We got 15 cars in lead lap right now. Kenny Wallace is in the lucky dog position, if that happens.
There's the battle for 8th. Look at Reed Sorensen, and his teammate on the outside is Jason Leffler.
What happens when you get team cars? They run the same speed, generally.
Yeah. And neither one of them have been all that happy with the speed that their cars have been running today, but they've done a nice job. You know, when you're unhappy and you're still running in the top 10, that says something about your cars and the way you're wheeling them.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, the 8th, 9th, 10th place cars are the hardest cars to drive a lot of times. Certainly more hard to drive than the 3rd, 4th, 5th place car.
The leader is in, and Jim Noble is there.
That's right. He'll like the sound of that, Vince. Race leader Jeremy Clements pulling the 04 machine in. What a run for this underfunded, understaffed team. They have fought the good fight all day long. It's going to be a 4-tire stop. They've been trying to free it up in the middle for him. He's been tied across the center. But so, what a day for this team. I tell you what, some of these guys are volunteers. They're on the left side. Nice run for Jeremy Clements today.
Meanwhile, on the left side of the screen, that's the battle for the lead. Brad Keselowski followed by his teammate Justin Allgaier.
What an outstanding job that Justin Allgaier has done. You know, typically, if you have a season like he's had this year, where he's the only full-time nationwide driver to win a race against the Cup regulars, he did that at Bristol, one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. You get a contract extension. He's fourth in the standings with only 4 races to go, and he's unemployed in 2011. He's making a strong case.
Well, the last time by him, Brad Keselowski and Allgaier run identical speeds, 34-13 for both of them. Wouldn't this be something if this kid running second right now, who's out of a ride, could pass his teammate and go on and win this thing? Because like you said, Ricky, he needs it more than Keselowski. He's on life support right now.
He is.
Allgaier passed Brad Keselowski with 27 to go back at Bristol in March, and then Keselowski ended up runner-up, and Allgaier went on to his only nationwide series victory. Can he do it again today? You mentioned his tough situation as he looks to the future. Here's Allgaier's thoughts.
I really thought that everything was going well and that things were secure for next year. Unfortunately, they're not, as we all know, and you know, that's the one thing about this sport that can be frustrating sometimes, is that nothing is ever for certain.
Look at Allgaier trying to get everything he can out of it. We mentioned that he passed Keselowski with 27 to go at Bristol. There's 27 to go right now here at Gateway. Look at him make the move again, trying to get Keselowski going into 3.
Man, I just heard that motor, too. He downshifted that baby to third gear, and you heard that thing revving up, coming down that back straightaway as he was making that pass.
Here's where it gets really difficult, because you cannot drive a half car length too deep into one. It's a very unforgiving corner. To be penalized for it.
Let's see if he does it.
Slides up a little bit, but he clears.
Makes the clear.
Allgaier passes for the lead. 26 to go.
Great job.
Can Allgaier hold on, or will Keselowski make another run? Maybe Carl Edwards will bid at Gateway. On the short track at Bristol back in March, Justin Allgaier passed his teammate Brad Keselowski with 27 to go, and Allgaier went on to score his first career NASCAR Nationwide Series victory. And what a sweet day it was for Allgaier that afternoon. Winning any time in the Nationwide Series is big, but when you do it at Bristol, you know that's special, and it certainly was for that young man. Had tears in his eyes afterwards. And well, he did it with 27 to go that day. With 26 to go today, he passed Keselowski again for the lead. Now we'll see if he can hold on to win.
As a competitor, you measure yourself against other drivers, but you also measure yourself against tracks like Darlington, like Bristol. Those are two of the toughest on the circuit. To win at Bristol really means something. That's personal. There's always a demand for talent. Regardless of what the economy is doing to the sport, this young man will not be unemployed for long if he is unemployed next year, because he's so talented.
Tell you what, Roger Penske's got to be loving life right now. Both of his cars. Ooh, that was close. You see that?
Yeah, I was driving that car. How about you?
Got into him a little bit.
You swerved.
Yeah. Close. Keselowski almost got into that lap car. But Roger, his team has really prepared 2 wonderful cars this weekend. I shouldn't say this week. It's been all year long. That Team Penske has been strong. The engines have been good. They've been handling good. Look how good they look, too.
Well, you've got the 22 is leading the points. You've got the 12 is 4th in points. So you got 2 top 5 teams.
And this would be Dodge's first championship in the Nationwide Series if it happens, and I think it's safe to assume that it's going to. That's a compliment to Penske and the whole organization and all the guys back at the shop that build the engines and the cars.
Let's take a replay. This little dive bomb that he put on this lap car going in the corner. Look how close this was. Let's watch this, guys. Whoa, it did hit him. He bounced off the left rear tire of Ricky Stenhouse. Let's watch it one more time. Just misjudged just a little bit, guys.
It was a variation of corner entry
right
speed.
there.
Yeah, the 6 car was going so slow into the corner, he didn't anticipate catching him that quickly.
Let's check in with Shannon Spake on the 12.
Some words of advice to Justin Allgaier from on top of the pit box. Don't let him pressure you. Of course, talking about his teammate right behind him. Look forward through that window. Don't race in that mirror, and just drive your race car and make your own race, guys.
How difficult is it to do just what they're instructing him to do, to not look out the back and to keep focusing
Well,
forward?
it's always difficult, but it helps. 2 things help. Number one, that you have to because of the circumstances, and you know what's on the line here, but also the fact that you've done it. The difference between thinking you can do it and having done it, and he did it at Bristol, that's why he can do it again.
Let's take a look at this 22 car, the right side. I want to look at this, Ricky. Great point you were just making, but he's got some damage right behind the door numbers. But I don't think it's affecting the car right now. Rick Boylan's got a little damage there.
Yeah, and I can tell you right after that moment, Brad came on the radio and said, "Whoa, that was way too close for call for him." One interesting thing I wanted to point out in this battle between himself and Justin, and that's the fact that unlike some of the other drivers, Carl and Justin, he has not been downshifting. He didn't downshift in the July race, and I talked with Paul Wolf again to double confirm it. He said Brad has not been downshifting at all. Even though he was running and there's that chance to try to get that lower gear, he didn't do it. As a result, he's been going through. Now, Paul just a moment ago told him, you only have to guess about this 18 more times. That was with 18 laps to go. You've got to dig a little deeper and try to figure out how to make it work.
Well, they say there's about 0.2 of a second of speed by downshifting. I've been hearing from the drivers. Let's take a look at him right here. Here's a good in-car shot of him. We can actually find out ourselves if he's downshifting. He's the start-finish line right now. Just about to enter turn 1. And they usually downshift when they get to the slowest part. That's about right in this area. Let's watch his right hand. There he goes. He downshiftted. All right. Paul Wolf was telling a little fib, I think.
Now, that's got to be the first fib a crew chief's ever told. Here comes the 66 of Steve Watt. 15 laps to go.
Now that's about 15 laps to go, and got a left front tire flat.
He was running 5th.
Actually running 4th he got up to. Man, that is a disaster. This late in the race.
There's a million ways to lose races, man. You know, that sticks with you.
Heartbreaker for Steve Wallace here in the final 15 laps to have to come down pit lane, running so strong.
A million ways to lose them, but you need to be nearly perfect if you're going to win one.
On the right side of your screen is Justin Allgaier. He's the race leader. On the left side, they continue to work on the 66 of Wallace. He's cleaning away. Allgaier trying to just take care of business here in these final 14 laps. He's being chased by his teammate, Brad Keselowski.
He's actually extending his lead a little here. This is impressive.
Talk about how even it's been between these two. Allgaier's led 83 laps. Keselowski's led 81. They have been out front just dominating today. These Penske Dodges have been so strong.
I think back to July, and Justin Allgaier scraped the wall in practice. It really disrupted the flow of the whole weekend. I could see the frustration in his face. He felt like he might have let the team down a little bit. They didn't have a great weekend because of it, but he sure is making it up to him now. He's done everything right, and Chad Walters has done everything right, and I'm really impressed with how they've done it under some tough circumstances.
There are 12 laps to go right now. Speeds are still looking good, although Keselowski that last time by about 1/10 of a second faster than Allgaier. We heard that he wasn't downshifting, but we later found out he is downshifting. Keeping that speed. I was wondering how they're running so close to the same speed. If one was doing it, the other wasn't.
Yep. 12 to go as the Verizon Dodge charges toward the start-finish line. Let's get the speeds at the line here.
Continues to stretch it out a little bit faster than Keselowski. Edwards was faster than the second-place car, so I don't think he's got the time to catch him. But we talk about the mental aspect of the sport and frame of mind. There is a tremendous difference between having a 2-year contract and coming into this race and knowing that the extent of your racing life might be 3 races after this. And you drive with a little bit of apprehension. I don't care how much you think about it, how much you try to prevent it. You don't want to make mistakes because it's a reflection of your driving.
And give a little credit to Chad Walter, too, for keeping that team together and keeping that group up. And the fact that they haven't packed it in knowing that they're short-timers, if you will. And there's a caution on the track as Danica Patrick has gone hard into the wall. It's been a tough day for Danica today.
You just said pack it in, and she packed it in.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Ryan Truex.
Is that bad luck for her or what?
Don't blame it on me.
This reminds me of Ryan Truex in the first race here in July, in that this year he ran so well the whole race, and then late got loose getting into turn 1. And we'll see if this is a similar situation. And it starts a little wobble. That was close.
He just got in the back of her a little bit and got her loose.
Danica had a track bar issue earlier, spent several laps on pit lane as they repaired the car. Then there you see Steven closing on her.
Steven comes out on newer tires, and so he naturally goes back to the gas earlier. He did get into the back of her where she was most vulnerable. She's obviously on older tires. Well, it used to be such a big issue at a track like Darlington where you had aggressive tire wear because there was such a disparity in tires. So now it comes down to this, with just a few laps to go, would you pit? Would you pit if you're Brad Keselowski and you don't think you got the muscle to beat
9 laps to go.
Rusty, I'm waiting.
I'll tell you. Let's see. Yeah, I think I would pit. How's that?
You waited until they got on the access road to make the decision.
Well, I wasn't wrong that way, guys. Come on. I'm not. This is the first time I've done this thing.
That's cheating.
No, that's what a driver does. He hedges his bet.
Yeah, I'm coming. There's Allgaier, Keselowski, Edwards. Those are your top 3. Jim Noble.
After much debate, Carl Edwards has decided to come down pit road. They are going to change 4 tires. They aren't going to put any fuel in it right now because they think that'll disrupt the balance of the car. Here comes Carl. Slides to a stop. They're around to the right side. It'll be 4 for Edwards. Rick?
Paul Wolf said, we got a set of tires for you down here. Brad Keselowski said, you think we have enough time to use them? They're about to find out. Shannon?
Remember, this team has struggled on pit road for Justin Allgaier. It is going to be 4 tires. Chad Walters calls an audible. One's going to be 2. They are going to do 4 at the last minute, guys. See if they can get Justin Allgaier as the 33 goes by him. The 38 guys are coming off pit road, and Justin Allgaier is down and away.
Wow, another slower stop for Allgaier. The 32, the 88 both stayed out. But we saw, I don't know if there was a debate as to whether they were going to take 2 or 4, but Allgaier came in the pits ahead of Keselowski. He left the pits behind Keselowski. Final laps at Gateway.
You want amazing? You need NBC.
NASCAR.com. Check it out.
A late yellow has set the stage for a shootout in the final race at Gateway International Raceway, the NASCAR Nationwide Series with 7 to go. The 98 of Paul Menard got the lucky dog on that one. The yellow was brought out by Danica Patrick and her contact into the wall after getting a little help from Steve Wallace. So we've got the 98, the lucky dog. We've got the wave arounds, and that puts the 32 of Reed Sorensen in the front. Stenhouse gone, Jeff Green, Morgan Shepherd, Peyton Sellers, Jeremy Clements. They're the wave arounds. So you've got the 32 and the 88 out front on this restart. Then you've got some guys behind them because the 32 and the 88 stayed out. And then you've got those behind them that have fresher tires.
Go back to the beginning of the race. Do you remember seeing Carl Edwards carving through traffic? Okay, hold on, because we're going to see it again. 4 new tires. The drivers in the front are on older tires. You got drivers behind them on 2 tires, and we're going to see 3 wide racing, whether they like it or not, because there's going to be an urgency with just a few laps to go.
The 3 drivers that have been up in the front all day long, and Keselowski and Allgaier, and even though Edwards hasn't led today, he's been running up in that top 3 for most of the afternoon. All 3 of those guys took 4 tires.
And with this many laps left, they probably aired those tires up just a little bit so they get going quicker. At least I would have done that. So I don't expect them to take them too long to get these things up to speed and get going.
There'll be some circumstance involved, a lane opening up and, not making contact. But this will come down to who wants it the most. And it's going to be some of the greatest racing we've seen, certainly all day. It's going to be exciting, maybe a little too exciting.
Mike Bliss has been in the mix throughout most of the afternoon, and that Kevin Harvick machine there in the 33. Bliss has led 10 laps today, and he's been a top 5 regular throughout the course of the afternoon. And right now he's sitting on the inside of row 2 next to Brad Keselowski.
I expect these drivers, they got the 4 tires, they pumped them up because they don't want to wait for the tires to...
Probably you could... The minimum right front air pressure right here, these guys let you run 31 pounds, so I wouldn't doubt they put about 5 pounds all the way around to get these babies up to speed, get them going quick.
2 tires for the 33 car there, and we saw the 22 car struggle to get going on new tires all day, so I'm sure that they pumped up all 4 tires on Brad Keselowski's car.
Here's a look at Justin Allgaier, and there's his teammate, Brad Keselowski. Keselowski, the points leader coming in to this race, entered the race with a chance to clinch the championship. Won't do it today. So he'll look ahead to Texas in a couple of weeks as his next opportunity to clinch the driver's title.
This is going to be fun to watch.
This is going to be fun.
This one here, these guys are going to get up on the wheel right now. 5 laps to go.
Pace car dives off. Sorensen on the outside. The Junior Motorsports machine for Josh Wise on the inside. Row 2 is Mike Bliss, who got some cars bumping into one another already. The green is out. The restart is on, and they're going to turn 1 with Reed Sorensen on the point.
It's just going to be a matter of how quickly the 12, the 22, and the 60 can come to life on those new tires. And if they do, they'll be able to be aggressive.
Tell you what, they separated quicker than I thought they would. I thought they'd be 3 wide, get down to turn 3. It didn't happen. Oh, look at Weiss gets a little loose here.
There we go. We're going to.
Allgaier's underneath them.
Look at Allgaier poking his nose in. Just 4 laps to go as they come down the straightaway.
And that's the key. If Allgaier can get into turn 1 before his teammate, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it or not over Keselowski.
Boy, he carried some speed in there, Rusty, the 12 car.
3 to go. Yes. Guys, we've talked about the 32 and the 38, how unhappy they've been with their cars today, and they're the 2 guys out front. But right now, the 33 of Bliss trying to challenge Leffler on the outside. Keselowski is right there in 4th.
22 will go to the low side.
And 3 laps to go, and you got Reed Sorensen in a backup car, crashed his main car in practice, and he's got cars behind him fending off Brad Keselowski now. And here's Bliss. He's trying to move.
Bliss takes over 2nd. 2 laps to go. Bliss dives down. He's going to challenge going into turn 1.
Got a little.
Gets into Sorensen. Sorensen wiggles a little bit. Is that all that Bliss is going to need to take the lead down the backstretch? It's Bliss in front.
Got a spin behind. No, well, he's got a little tire smoke. But you see the 33 actually is very similar to what happened between Keselowski and Carl Edwards, where he carried too much speed in the corner.
Keselowski challenging on the outside now. They're coming to the white flag. The white flag waves. It's Keselowski and Bliss side by side as they go into turn 1 on the final lap.
It's 4 tires versus 2 tires right there. Keselowski's got 4. So Bliss is 2.
He'll clear him off the exit or 2 here.
Down the backstretch, Keselowski in the lead. Remember, in July, he had the lead coming off 4, and Carl Edwards took him out. Can Keselowski come back and win it and complete the job today?
Look what's going on behind these guys for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Oh, he's going to... Keselowski off turn 4. He's going to hold off Mike Bliss. Brad Keselowski wins at Gateway.
Unbelievable last lap. That's 3 wide off of turn 4. Keselowski, what the right move, putting 4 tires on, took the lead with a half a lap to go. Heck of a run out of that team.
That's some great driving by all those guys up front, mixing it up but not taking one another out.
For the 6th time this season, Brad Keselowski will drive to victory lane, the winner of the final Gateway race in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and the celebration is on.
Teammate Allgaier finishes 3rd. Good comeback for him.
Jim Noble
standing by with Paul Wolf. Very happy, Paul Wolf. Tell me about the decision to take those tires, because, man, it looked like he needed every inch of rubber you gave him there.
Yeah, we definitely knew we needed tires there at the end to have a shot at it. And usually you put Brad in that situation at the end. He finds a way to get the discount tire Dodge in victory lane, and it's just fun to watch. I mean, you know you make the right adjustments, give him a good car, and usually you can bring it to victory lane.
After July, what does this mean?
Well, it's just special. I feel like, we had to race 1 in July, and just, circumstances kind of got away from us there. And to come back and bring the trophy home this time is pretty special. And just can't thank all the guys that work hard back at the shop. And it's just been an outstanding year, and see how many more of these we can win before it's over.
Congratulations, Paul.
Thanks.
Paul Wolf got some celebrating to do, guys.
He didn't lead the most laps, but he led the last lap. Brad Keselowski wins the NASCAR Nationwide Series race for the 12th time in his career. Keselowski wins today at Gateway.
Now there's something you don't...
Central on ABC. This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. NASCAR Nationwide Series at Gateway is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at codespotter.com for a chance to win a Roush Ford Mustang, Chrysler, and Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Go to Goodyear.com to learn more.
Back at Gateway International Raceway, the Discount Tire Dodge team of Brad Keselowski celebrating the victory. The man who led the most laps and finished third was Justin Allgaier. Shannon?
Well, a very fast race car for Justin Allgaier. Just had some major problems on pit road, especially that last one. What are your thoughts right now, Justin?
I don't know, man. When you come to your home racetrack, and it's the last one here, we felt like we had an awesome race car weekend. The Verizon Dodge Charger was awesome, and in practice the whole time, we knew we had a good car, and we sat on the pole and had the dominant car in the race. And unfortunately, I don't know, we just couldn't get off the pit road tonight, and we made a bad pit call there at the end and put us behind those guys. And I think if we at least had started on the outside like Brad did, I think we'd have been okay. But it's unfortunate, and the Nationwide Series is awesome. Thank them for all that they do for this sport, because we had a blast today, and I hate to see this racetrack go, because it's going to be one that's going to be missed by all the drivers I know. So I guess we'll go next week and see what we can do in Texas.
Really great day for Justin Allgaier and this 12 team. They just couldn't get it done right there at the end. Jim?
Shannon, 2 tires equaled second place for Mike Bliss. I guess the first question, man, how do you like driving that Kevin Harvick machine?
It was nice. They got really nice equipment. We were all right today. We weren't as good as we were yesterday. It was a little disappointing on longer runs. But all in all, it was a good finish. Taking 2 tires was the right call at the end. Throughout the race, I was trying to pop third gear there in turn 1, and I just couldn't get my timing down. I was too loose to really hit third. It just jacked the car out of the way. And then finally we got it tightened up to where I could do it, and it helped a lot. But just want to thank Mad Croc, Energy Drink, for coming aboard, Chevrolet, and KHI.
Nice run. Vince?
Yeah, well done indeed. Mike Bliss bringing it home second, and a heartbreaker for Justin Allgaier to have such a strong day and finish third. The man that is celebrating in victory lane is Brad Keselowski, and Rick DeBrule is there.
He is one happy guy. I can tell you, Carl Edwards came up a moment ago and shook his hands. But we have to talk about that last call. Your crew chief, Paul Wolf, said, I got 4 tires for you to come on in. And you said, you think we have enough time. Did you have doubts?
Well, I did when, we ran one more lap of the other one. Went from 5 to 4. And I knew it was going to be close. And when Bliss got in the lead, I thought he'd be gone. I knew he had the best short-run car, I think, of the group. And, just got a little break where 32 got to him and just got him a little loose and was able to take advantage of it. But Mike drove a great race, and so did my teammate Justin Allgaier. Thought he was going to win, and I really didn't. Things just didn't work out for him, but really happy for him and for the strong run he had. Man, 13 months ago, Michael Zweiback, Bruce Halley from Discount Tire called me up and told me they wanted me to drive this car. I knew it was going to be something special, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. And thanks to them, thanks to everybody at Discount Tire. Roger, I know you're watching, and let's get another win for him and to finally get this Gateway win. Last race for this track here in Illinois. The Dover Motorsports Group puts on great tracks. They're unique. They put on great shows like they had today, and I'm just glad to get to race on them in front of all these fans.
And did it just completely erase all those memories from July?
Yeah. I try not to hold grudges or try not to think about that. You got to focus on your next race if you're going to be able to win it, and that was key to being able to win today. You can't be panicked about the past. You got to move forward and move on with your life, and our team did that today.
And he moved on lap 199 and took that lead. Congratulations to Brad Keselowski.
What a great show today at Gateway, and certainly, as he noted, Roger Penske's got to be pleased. First and third this afternoon, and boy, I'll tell you what, we saw a great race today, and you've got 3 more chances to catch the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Tickets to the race, NASCAR.com/tickets. Check us out at Texas Motor Speedway, November 6th, the following weekend at Phoenix International. A lot of things that you saw on this race today will transfer.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Phoenix race right there. Whoever run good is probably going to run good there.
Yeah, Keselowski likes to hear that, right? And, of course, the finale at Homestead. Well, the Sprint Cup Series will be at Martinsville not only tonight with happy hour, but also tomorrow. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Martinsville, 1 o'clock on ESPN. The countdown show begins at 12 noon on ESPN2 tomorrow. And don't forget NASCAR Now, 9 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Time, and then 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. And as always, Monday night, 5 o'clock on ESPN.